All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Esports Club presents Pro Series Fall Edition for Rainbow-Six-Siege, supported by Ubisoft, powered by Zotac Gaming, and of course, our broadcast partner Loco. We are down with just three teams here, folks: Hunters LFO,
Mm-hmm.
Team Mercenaries, and Team Shaheens. And we are having the lower brackets decider matchups between Mercenaries and Shaheens to determine who will be the team who will proceed in towards the grand finals. Last time I remember in the upper brackets matchup, we saw Team Hunters LFO make a miraculous comeback twice up against Team Mercenaries. 5-1, 5-1 in the first half. It went all the way to overtime match point, 8-7, 8-6, with MRCZs being on the lower brackets. And now they have their final chance up against Team Shaheens. I'm your caster for today, Baugusta. With me, I have my co-caster, the real CCV. And I've got to ask you a question here, CCV. Mercenaries, they've
Yeah,
had a major downfall in the yesterday's matchup. Do you think they'll be able to come back up against Team
absolutely.
Shaheens?
They should be able to come back, but this matchup is just a lot more than the mentality of both of these rosters, because right now both of these rosters are in two very different positions. MRCZ still want to secure that name as the best team in the region. However, every single time they have played against Hunters LFO, they have been outed and ousted. So right now they still have the chance of rectifying things in the grand finals tomorrow. And the grand finals tomorrow, that's just the end, that's the finish line. This fall edition of the Pro Series started all the way early in September. We had the open qualifiers, the first set of open qualifiers, the second set of open qualifiers. We then got our top 8. From the top 8, we are now down to our top 3. The fourth place team has already been decided, Team Phalanx, yesterday. A nice effort from their end, but their journey comes to an end. They'll be going home with $300. Today, the team losing these lower finals, they'll be going home with $400. And of course, the runners up of the fall edition will be going home with 600, and the winners, whether it be Hunters LFO or it be any other team, they will be going home with $1,200. So yet again, there's definitely prize on the line, but as I always say, there's alongside that a lot of pride.
Yes, it is. And let's not forget about the SA National qualifiers points that they're about to receive as well for fourth and third place, 6 points and 4 points. And currently, we see the teams on the side of Shaheens and Mercenaries trying to fight it out to get more points. And if Shaheens get this, they will secure 8 points if they secure second place. So they'll do what it takes to make sure that they would be on the top of the leaderboards for the SA National point system. And also, we do have it in our tables right in the next of the screens, with Hunters LFO claiming to have 20 points. They're in the grand finals
Mm-hmm.
and they have already secured their first and second place. Meanwhile, now we just have to figure out who would secure third place. Would it be Team Mercenaries or Shaheens? Shaheens, on the other hand, have claimed seventh place as of now. And when we get to see whether if Shaheens would proceed into the grand finals or not, the points is hasn't been changed as of now. But the rest of the points from the side of Team Phalanx, they're currently in top 4, Kira on top 3, and also let's and the rest of the players too. Retrograde, Won't Stop Peaking, and Shaheens are currently in all the way from first to seventh spot. Damon Mia, on the other hand, are currently the one who have claimed eighth place. Let's take a look at the brackets too from Pro Series Fall Edition and see, out of total of 8 teams that we've had, all the way from the first qualifiers to second qualifiers, we came all the way to the playoffs, and now we're just left with 2 days, CCV. Today being the day for the lower brackets deciders and the grand finals
Yep.
to determine which team would they go up against.
Yeah. So for the time being, I gotta say that, I mean, the brackets as well. Right now there's better result, and like there's better usage of the brackets looking at the past rather than really looking at the future, because we know what matchup is going to be tomorrow. Best of 5, Hunters LFO already there. The winner of this matchup, they'll be facing the Hunters. Plain and simple, both of these teams, they've played against Hunters on numerous occasions. Right now, most recently, we saw the side of MRCZ lose to them, but also for Shaheens, in the previous edition, the summer edition of the Pro Series, they lost to Hunters. And as we can see in the bracket, Shaheens had also lost 0 and 2 to the side of MRCZ as well. So Shaheens are on their path of revenge, plain and simple. That is exactly what they're looking forward to do. Last time they met up against MRCZ, as we're seeing in the upper bracket quarterfinals, things really didn't go their way. I mean, MRCZ, they were looking for that stomp over kind of win, and on Skyscraper, they got that 7-0 victory. Then the next map was Cafe Dostoevsky, a map that I really am fond of, believe it or not, but we really don't see it. We saw it back then in that matchup. It was still 7-2 favoring MRCZ, and because of that, Shaheens, they've definitely improved a lot, over the past couple of days, ever since the upper bracket quarterfinals. But still, the maps have to be decided, they have to be talked about, and they have to be determined exactly where these battles in this BO3 will be fought. So without any further ado, let's bring up the map veto.
Yep. The map vetoes, the maps that could help both MRCZ and Shaheens to their path to victory. Also having the spot to the grand finals for Pro Series Fall. More points means more chances for them to be in the in the South Asian Nationals. And as we take a look at the map itself, Skyscraper being picked from Mercenaries and Villa from Shaheens. And with the decider being brought out on Theme Park. Interesting maps coming in from both the teams here, CCV.
Yeah, I mean, seeing the veto as well, definitely interesting. Favoring themselves, I think, is the theme of this veto. MRCZ, I mean, we already talked about this, right? Last time Mercenaries met up against Shaheens and Skyscraper, 7-0. They'd like for that to be repeated once more. So, no major changes right there. As for the side of Shaheens, they've gone for that Villa pick, which also does make a lot of sense. When they met up against. The side of Phalanx. Shaheens ended up defeating Phalanx on the map of Villa, and overall, just Shaheens have been quite strong over there. So, to an extent, unless we see an upset early on, this generally should go to that decider map of Theme Park. Granted, both of these teams are very, very strong on their own map choices, but anything can change. If we see MRCZ taking the win on Villa, and then going to Skyscraper, they'll have the advantage. But Shaheens, as long as they're solid in the first map, they will know inherently that whatever happens on Skyscraper, Decider is still there.
Yep, deciders will still be present from both the teams unless and until if the map picks really did favor for them on most of the matchups. And last time I remember in the first upper brackets matchup, which we saw between Team Mercenaries and Shaheens, ending up on a 2-0 would be a lot of pain from Shaheens' end. But seeing them come back all the way in the lower brackets with, with Envy coming back to Shaheens, things will be a lot more difficult for both the sides. Mercenaries, on the other hand, they just got absolutely destroyed from Hunter's LFOs. 8-6, 8-7 on both the maps of Oregon and also on the first map too, which was very concerning from Mercedes' end, mainly because on the amount of best performance that we've seen from Mercedes' end in the upper brackets, seeing Hunters, although for a moment there I thought there was some hopes for Mercedes to proceed into the grand finals, but turns out Hunters, they still emerge victorious, and they don't want to lose a single map. In fact, on most of the matches that we've seen, the only match we saw Hunters lose was all the way towards Summer Series, where they had lost up against Team Mercenaries on a best of three, 2-1. Mercenaries had won two
Mm-hmm.
maps, and Hunters LFO, they went all the way to the lower brackets. And guess what happened afterwards? They had to push all the way to the grand finals in the lower brackets, fighting every single team, knowing that if there is one team which would defeat Hunters LFO, then that means that journey would come to an end. So, with that having in mind, that was the only match that Hunters LFO had lost up against Mercenaries. The rest of the
Yeah.
series, it's just Hunters everywhere. Even on spring, even on fall, they haven't lost a single map except on the side of Uwu, where they did ended up having a 2-1 scoreline, and also on Mercenaries in the grand finals, where it did go 3-1 in spring series. But the rest of it,
Yeah.
Hunters, my goodness, you could say this entire pro series, Hunters have dominated the entire scene in this region.
I mean, seems like that, maybe in the South Asian Nationals, we see that getting overturned. I mean, of course, as soon as the Pro Series Fall Edition ends, which will be, I mean, today and day after, there's not much after it. These teams, these players, they will have plenty of time to, go over everything and ready themselves up to be in the top eight. All the teams, of course, the standings will be brought out very, very shortly. Make sure you're following Six Esports SA on Twitter, and you're following the Esports Club as well to keep to be up to date, with all the updates that are there regarding South Asian nationals. Because now, after the Pro Series, I believe either we may have the Community Cup, another edition of the Community Cup. I can be wrong on that, but if there isn't, next directly it's going to be the nationals, plain and simple, the biggest event of the year when it comes to South Asia of the 2022 competitive year. So keeping that in mind, these teams, these players will be readying themselves up. And yeah, there is that chance of Hunters getting dethroned in the nationals itself at the pinnacle of South Asian Siege. But who exactly is going to do that is always what I end up thinking about, when I think of this, because it would be nice to have a different winner, of course. More competition means everyone gets better, and of course the competition doesn't get stale. But at the same time, which team will be taking up the task? Team Uvu did look very, very promising against the likes of Hunters LFO, but then they lost the match. They went into the lower brackets and they completely flatlined and they were out of it. MRCZ, who have always been in this back and forth against Hunters, still, after yesterday's result, don't have the upper hand all that much. Hunters reign supreme. Shaheens look like good contenders, but yet again, when we have seen them play against Hunters, it's not been the prettiest of results, in the summer edition. If Shaheens do make it to the grand finals, definitely there's going to be opportunity of new kings they being in town. But still, right now, the advantage 100% very heavily presides with the Hunters. And right now, MRCZ and Shaheens, them playing against each other, all the Hunters players, they're just going to sit back, relax, and watch this match to see exactly who their future opponents are going to be tomorrow in the grand finals and how do they play.
Yep, and let's not forget Shaheens. They're not out of this game just yet. So even though if they
Mm-hmm.
did ended up losing up against Mercenaries on a 7-0, 7-1, doesn't mean that Shaheens would do the same thing in the lower brackets deciders too. So expect tough
Right.
competition between both Mercenaries and Shaheens. Although Shaheens, I gotta admit, they had a very rough start in the upper brackets, but they did came all the way from the lower brackets, and now it's just one single team where they have to push all the way towards the grand finals, but they are going up against the titans of this region. It's Team Mercenaries who is currently on the top. I mean, you still have Hunters LFO who is still dominating the entire scene, but Mercenaries on the
Yeah,
other
yeah,
hand,
yeah.
high likely a chance it can happen. But it's usually on summer and spring edition, it was usually Kira Esports who would usually end up being on the lower brackets. But them
True.
being eliminated out from Phalanx, and Phalanx not being able to
Mm-hmm.
succeed up against Shaheens, we only do tend to see some changes being made from the lower brackets, especially if you look at that standpoint. But the rest of it,
Right.
it's still the same. It's Hunters LFO already in the grand finals twice. They've already secured second place. They already have 20 points. The only question is who will dethrone Team Hunters LFO? At this point, we have no idea. We saw Mercenaries trying their best efforts in yesterday's matchup. Guess where it ended up? You know, even I have the
Exactly.
same question for Shaheens, whether if they have a chance to defeat Hunters LFO. But just like Jack said, every single player on the side of Hunters LFO, they just went into Super Saiyan mode in the second half itself on defense. The whole match
Yeah.
that we've casted between me and Jack was just heavily defender favored. First
Oh, I
half,
saw that.
attackers, they couldn't get to do anything. And that was from
Mm-hmm.
Hunters LFO in the first half, but they couldn't do anything. And then in the second half, we see Hunters do the unthinkable. Five defensive rounds back to back. Like, we cannot make this up. All right, we literally cannot make this up. Five defensive rounds back to back. It's too much to say, man. It's just too much to say.
Yeah, when it comes to Hunters and their performance, I mean everything is pretty much just salamat thanks. It's all done and dusted. Whatever happens, happens, and I mean there's not much to say because Hunters have just been on this winning streak. Grand finals, again, in my opinion, have been one of the best opportunities for teams to overthrow that. if we jog our memories back to Spring Edition, I did give this prediction that MRCZ should have won that 3-1. But we also how that ended up happening 3-0 Hunters. Summer Edition, I had said that, Hunters would win again, yet again. 3-1 was the final score. Hunters won it. Today, after this match ends, I will be recording my predictions yet again. What
Hmm.
exactly shall I be using? I can't reveal that just yet. But
It's a
what I
secret.
can say is there is a very strong chance, no matter what my prediction is, no matter what Jack's prediction is, Hunters will win. And I already know Baba is the prediction god. Whatever he says, it will be the truth. So there's no point talking about that. But yeah, I believe. I mean, we've talked enough about the matchup as well. We've talked about the journey of these teams. Definitely, if we could, we'd like to invite the players, have a podcast. But we're just trying to get confirmation and just hoping and making sure as well that all the players are ready as soon as possible in the server. I believe it may have been an issue with one player last we heard, but yeah, as soon as everyone is ready, then of course we can jump in. But yeah, first map going to be Villa. Baba, we can talk a little bit about the specifics as well. Of course,
Hmm.
we have the operators, the compositions. I mean, Villa, it's still kind of standard. I mean, you do see a little bit of changes here and there. The Goyo has become a very prevalent pick recently. Goyo is there. At times, even, teams will go for that heavy roamer. Usually, it is the alibi mainly, but very, 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 very rare occasions, Vigil can be picked out. Do you see the alibi brought out yet again? Because we already know from the side of Shaheens, Doctor is going to go for that once more. Just like what he did against Phalanx, alibi will be there, but on the side of MRCZ, if there's anything likely to happen.
I gotta say, mainly alibi pick on defense is 100% must, especially when
Yeah.
you introduce it with a 1.5x scope. Back when alibi didn't had a scope, in fact, alibi she only had hollow and reflex side, and it was very
Oh, I
difficult to
remember
handle out
those
that
days.
recoil. And now, when you
Yeah.
introduce that 1.5x scope, you'd usually use the Alibi's Prisma's holograms just to get information. You don't just use it to
Mm-hmm.
bamboozle your opponents out. No, we don't do that anymore. It's just used for
Mm-hmm.
gaining information. And once you get it, you'd usually go for higher plays like either a run out or just ending up getting most of the kills. You could say that friendship ended with Valkyrie and now Alibi is my best friend. That's technically what has happened at that moment, but both Valkyrie and Alibi has its own pros and cons. Valkyrie, on the other hand, she
Yeah.
gives constant info via her life cams,
And
whereas
like
Alibi, she
HD
gives 4
4K.
ping. Yep, caught in HD 4K resolution. That's how
Exactly.
great a Valkyrie is, and that's the main reason why she's been banned almost every single match as we've seen in Pro Series Fall Edition. Is it mainly because they couldn't handle the roam control from the Valkyrie, so they'd just opt out to prefer Alibi instead? Wouldn't it be a good
Mm-hmm.
idea to just ban Alibi instead and bring in Valkyrie? That would have at least limits the odds when it comes to increasing roam capabilities and try to ensure that you would have much more control into a site itself. They could maybe do that, but it's always a decision for the teams to see whether if getting control getting information from the Valkyrie who has 4K resolution quality or the Alibi who can give you 4 pings. They just usually go with the usual bans of the Valkyrie and just ensure that they would have good gunfight up against the Alibi. But the MX4 Storm, the amount of high fire rate that weapon has and the chance of getting headshots from that is just absolutely insane. And that's the main reason why you see Alibi being played more so ever often. But for
Mm-hmm.
Mercenaries, I still remember we could see a Frost being picked out from Hasib, because why not? I mean, the luck when they
Pogmac.
went up against Hunters LF4 did ended up getting 4 kills from the Frostman.
Yeah.
So
I did hear the
if it
Pogmac from
works on the
Jack.
previous
Yeah.
match, yes. If it does work in the yesterday's matchup, maybe it could work on today's matchup too. Mainly because the map is on Villa for Shaheens. I could say that they would go in for the usual push when it comes to the attackers side. We won't see any interesting changes being made from Shaheens' end. It's just the usual push all the way towards the fountain
Yeah.
spawn. It's just a standard push as you can see from Shaheens' end. What's more interesting is that from the side of Mercenaries, the way how they can handle it is just very strong. You know, the deployable shields. It's always planned accordingly. So if one of them goes out, Mercenaries, on the other hand, they would either try to manage it or try to adapt to the situation, mainly on the way how they've lost a lot of man counts. And when it comes to man counts, Mercenaries, even though if they're in a 2v4 or a 2v3 situation, they'd usually end up winning those matchups. And folks, I know we talked a lot about it, but finally the wait is over. We're heading off with the lower brackets matchups, the deciders to determine which team will be heading off to the grand finals. Will it be Team Musris or will it be Team Shaheens? Let's find out in the band phase.
All right, so now yet again, operator bans are here, and we talked about the operators picked, right? We went into grave discussion about the alibi. When it comes to the attackers, I mean, yeah, there's a reason we didn't talk much about the attackers, is because first of all,
Yeah.
Thatcher is going to be banned. Secondary as an attacker, I mean, it's MRCZ's choice. They're on attack first. Maybe if they really wouldn't like to play against it, they can ban a knock, they can ban a jackal, they can ban a hard breacher as well. But then again, Villa hard breach, it's not the most associated ban. You see more hard breaches being banned on Clubhouse, on Oregon, etc. But again, like we talked about, they've banned Jackal, makes total sense. MRCZ on their defense, they'd like to go for that, roam play, and because of that, they just don't want the Jackal early on. So the defense ban from MRCZ is exactly what I'm looking forward to, and well, yet again, it's Valkyrie is gone. So far, none of the bans have really deviated from what we had predicted about the ban phase to go. And I don't think the ban phase really is going to be a major surprising factor, an X factor in this
Mm-hmm.
matchup. Mainly, it's going to be the rounds itself.
Yeah. Same bans, Amira ban. Actually, no, it's a mute ban from Shaheens. Interesting. Which means that they just have to make do with either bandit charges or kite electroclaws. But having a mute ban will give a lot of chances for the attackers, aka the Flores, to open up those deployable shields easier, knowing that the mute jammer isn't present. And no matter how many times you try to use your ADSs or magnet knees to give a lot of protection from the deployable shield, one single explosive drone is more than enough to destroy it. So here we go, folks. Round number one. Team Mercenaries in the lower brackets deciders and Shaheens, who just fought all the way to the first round of the lower brackets. Can we see Shaheen secure a spot on the grand finals, or will we see Mercenaries go back into the grand finals to get their revenge match? Let's find out in the first side, being on second floor, Aviators and Games Room.
All right, so the stage is set. We start off with Villa right here. The defenders, yeah, as usual, everything we talked about, everything being the same. Shaheens are really not changing any of their strategies against MRCC than what they did when they were facing off versus Phalanx. It's the same. I believe it's the same composition as well. Maybe Mighty Ali wasn't on Bandit. They had that mute as the anti-breacher. I could be wrong on that, but apart from that, yeah, Vamai, Jaeger, Alibi, Smoke, it's all standard, it's all the same, no changes. Even their setup, the reinforcements that we are seeing towards, trophy, statuary, triangle, everywhere, it's all roughly what Shaheens did against Phalanx. And because of that, MRCZ may have that slight opportunity, if they've really done their homework, to try and counter all of this and to try and work against it. But MRCZ themselves, they are looking for that full roam clear. I mean, look at these attackers entering from the eastern side of the map, clearing out trophy, bedroom, astronomy, statuary, and only then will they start executions, which of course will be a thorough method of attacking, but it will take some time as well, as we're having a look at the entry frag Taha to the ash work.
All the way towards trophy, as Tahar doesn't want to waste any time at all. Asip, on the other hand, interesting use of his secondary gadget, an EMP impact, will technically be used to open up the vault's side. Caesar, on the other hand, all the way towards the stairs. You have three players, actually two, all the way from red stairs itself, to provide some extra protection. And ooh, what a shot from Doctor to start things off. Ruing Traha out. They just need to focus on the rest of the four players who are slowly making their way into a second floor trophy. And Mercenaries, they've got to be really careful about this, because the entirety of the mid stairs has been on a lockdown. So if they want to head in towards that 90s hallway, it's best that you clear Skywalker out, or at least use a smoke to block line of sight. But yeah, they have smoke. They could use it to block line of sight. So all it requires is just perfect timing. And Shaheens, I think they've got to figure it out.
Well, right now, Shaheens definitely do have this defense figured out. They're waiting for the timing. Envy is there. Hasib now goes down after taking 2 kills. But alongside that, there's more pressure from the attackers. Envy also takes a big chunk out of his HP, has got to fall back, and these two defenders, they need to retreat. The attackers, they have a man advantage. They've got extra numbers, 50 seconds on the clock, and this is a very smart play right here from Ashrit, rotating all the way towards. Oh, it's Shinra actually, my bad. But yeah, going towards study, looking to isolate another gunfight. Doctor's position is known. Doctor's got no choice but to fall back. Envy is holding this angle right now. They're looking for these attackers. They're looking to get the kills. Envy finds one, and now the attackers are definitely at a disadvantage. And before you know it, it's Shinra all onto himself, the newest member of MRCZ. We've seen Shinra, of course, in so many teams. He used to play for Kira as well. Right now in MRCZ, he's had, ups and downs in his performance, and the team overall has had ups and downs, but this 1v2 seems a little too unlikely to do. He's found out by Doctor, and Shaheens close out the first round. 2 versus 3, 2 versus 0.
Yeah, a fantastic setup from Shaheens. As you saw, both of the players, both Skywalker and Doctor, were holding out that entire hallway. One of them was the smoke, who was holding his gas canisters to block an entryway to a second floor landing, which did give a lot of time being wasted from Mercenaries' end. And by the time Mercenaries found out the opening by removing both of the players, Doctor was still alive, where at that time he decided to fall back at that certain moment where Hasib was the one who did get the opening pack all towards that main stairs. It was very important, and that eventually led Envy get the strongest hold by forcing them to engage in that gunfight. 2 kills all the way towards landing towards the side really did give the perfect hold that Envy would have wanted in that first round. And it did ended up being in their boon nonetheless. Round number 2, on the other hand, will be a bit difficult for them. Knowing the side is on trophy and sanctuary room, Mercenaries could just get an entry towards second floor master bedroom all the way, but this will be heavily guarded. So whether or not Mercenaries would make a decision to brute force their way in all towards that particular spot, or would they just take the long route all the way by spawning in towards the ruins aside and then make their way all towards the aviators and games room instead. And that's the only safe, you can say it's the safest way, mainly because you can also clear some certain roamers around on the side of defense. So it's a good way to, hold things off. But if I have to talk about the counters for it, you'll be taking a lot of time just to clear out the roamers itself if you make a push all the way towards second floor aviators room. So you've got to think about it carefully. You've got to be attentive of the time, and you've got to make sure that whatever time has been expended towards that site, it needs to be used in a way that it favors for Mercenaries. So every second counts, and in round number 2, they'll make a decision to force themselves in towards second floor master bedroom instead.
Absolutely. Right now, MRCZ, they'll be looking to push in. Master just gain direct control. And yeah, this entire setup that Shaheens have towards bedroom, MRCZ are looking to break that apart, destroy the castle barricades. Primarily, I believe that's why Hibana has been chosen as well. Just so there are so many extra pellets that can be used, and we are seeing Ashret right now using the Hibana X Kairos to destroy all of those barricades, get through the reinforcements, establish the lines of sight, and that's exactly what's happening. But now the main problem for MRCZ lies next. It's about kills. Even yesterday as well against Hunter's LFO, even if they had the man advantage, Hunter still somehow converted it into a round win. The kills never seemed to go the way of MRCZ. The previous round also being an example of that, 3 versus 2 into a 0 versus 2. They got to be careful. They're done with all of their utility usage. They're done with establishing the angles, maintaining the lines of sight. Now it's time to get into the bomb site, and in the final 70 seconds actually go for the kills and go for the defenders. But as they try that, Envy gets the first.
Yep, and Asif gets the second too. Removing off Skywalker, but control on Astro says will be a lot difficult. But it now will be made easier from the Iana. But Caesar, he doesn't want to think otherwise. Tries to contest an angle all the way towards the bedroom window. But unfortunately, he won't be able to get one. The bright side is equalized to 3-3. Astro control is there, but not for long. As Caesar gets one, Doctor gets the other to remove Naughty Ashret. And now it's MI7 left in a 1v3. No diffuser, which means he needs to go for the frags. Not a lot of information left, and Caesar tries to attempt a gunfight, which ends up being his downfall. 1v2. MI7. Can he clutch this out? Does he know this information? Doctor deals a lot of damage, but Mighty Ali gets away. It's a trade nonetheless from Mighty Ali. And a win for Shaheens, securing round number 2 on defense. Patience is the key to virtue. And for Shaheens, all they've got to do was just wait and just wait for Team Mercenaries to make their push on Astro. And the trap has been set to perfection. 2-0.
Yeah.
Succeeding on 2 rounds on defense. Round number 3, the site will be on kitchen and dining.
Yeah. Yeah, for Shaheens, patience is the key to success, and all they had to do was just wait. That's kind of like the opposite of any Harry Houdini trick, if I'm being honest,
Mm-hmm.
because usually you like to, use the key as soon as possible. But Shaheens
Love
delayed
Harry.
it uh, as long as possible. And yeah, MRCs yet again, they wanted to go for that, they wanted to go for the kills. They were denied. Indy got one. Hasib found an opening yet again. Hasib has been going ham with the kills. He currently has the highest in his team. He got 2 kills in the first round. He got that opener in the previous one as well, but still, it just isn't enough. Shaheens, every step of the way, the frags are favoring the defenders, and the defenders are using that to get more and more rounds. So currently, they're on the final round of the objective rotation. Kitchen dining, like you said, it's going to be the tertiary bomb site. Neither one of these teams are Hunters LFO. They are now going to be choosing library and living room. They're going to go for the 3 default bomb sites, get their defense over there, get as many rounds as possible. And so far, the overall plan for Shaheen seems to be a success. MRCZ, yeah, the rounds are close, but it's not close enough that MRCZ can contest for a win. It's always that, 1v3 that's been happening earlier. The 3 versus 2, MRCZ lost as well. It just goes to show for mercenaries, they've got to worry a little bit about the gunfights and what kind of gunfights they're taking as well.
Yep, currently we see Shaheens, especially Doctor and Skywalker, both of them holding from the first floor itself, which means that they would be high likely going in for actually not for a C4 play. I just realized the site is on first floor dining. You see the two players are currently holding on from library itself, which means that Shaheens, both of them, have not made a decision to hold into a second floor statuary or trophy. They're just currently gaining for information, and maybe a C4 play could come in. Ali, will this connect? Yes, it does. There goes Shinra. For a moment there, I thought that would have cost 2 players out, but instead, he'll at least get one. But Shinra, being the one downed, they have to rely on Hasib's skeleton key to open up lines of sight and gain at least an angle towards a particular spot. A second C4, this time downing Taha, but he'll still stay alive. But in a 3v5 situation and Shaheen's being so powerful on round number 3, this will be so concerning from Mercenaries' end on attack.
Absolutely on the side of MRCZ and their attack. Already, like you said, no sledge there, low HP, time running out, all 5 of the defenders being alive. Once more, it's leading into that same desperate scenario where they will have to force their way into the gunfights, and already mercenaries who are at that slight disadvantage, things may not be better, but MI7 looks to improve things, and improve them he does. Slowly but surely, the attackers are gaining more and more control, both metaphorically and literally. They're getting back into the game, and with the vertical control as well, they're establishing more angles from the Buck C8 that we can hear the skeleton key go off as well alongside the C8. So, with more angles being established, it means that, yeah, the defenders have less room to work in, but still doesn't mean the attackers have a sure shot method of execution. 25 seconds on the clock. It's now or never. They need to get near the bomb site, but wherever they go, they're met with the smoke canisters. Smoke himself now has been eliminated by Ashret, who has also indeed gotten the diffuser, who's alive this time all by himself, also gone, and Shaheen's in an instant. In the dying seconds of the round, make sure everyone in MRCZ dies.
Yep, not a lot of time left, and Mercenaries, they were forced to make a very aggressive push all towards the site, and it did ended up being in favor for Shaheens once again. 3-0 will be the score count for round number 4. which means that Shaheens' all three sites have been opened up. Second floor ABG is opened up, so does second floor statue and library, except the site on first floor. First floor kitchen and dining has already been done in the previous round itself. But for Shaheens, getting a victory on three defensive rounds is huge coming from them. And what's interesting is that even with the mute bans from Shaheens, you could have think that hey, could be a bit difficult. The deployable shields, especially on the first round. I just realized Nori Ashred, he was the one playing the Flores, but the way how Shaheens have removed the explosive drones just by aiming towards it and without any attackers just trying to challenge one of those angles clearly shows that Shaheens has the upper hand when it comes to denying those explosive utilities, which in turn leads to the deployable shield still being intact on the site. So, mercenaries, if the explosive drones are not helping you guys out, wouldn't it be best for a cooked nade from below itself? This way, you don't have to worry about the Jaeger's ADSs, nor you have to deal with the Wamai's magnet nades itself. Just a cooked grenade all the way from below to ensure that the deployable shield has been destroyed. And Envy, who's currently playing as the Wamai, who will always hold the side out into his gaming room, won't be able to have a very good hold from that specific spot, which means he'll be forced to play a round study, and that's where you'll be able to get the jump on them. But they'll still go with the usual way. I mean, it's best to have an explosive drone because it has the higher chance of success rates of destroying that deployable shield, like when you're challenging them head on. So action phase is present. So does the players on the side of Mercenaries, who are slowly making their way in towards second floor statuary room with Shinra having the diffuser in hand. He's got to be careful, but the same thing can also be said for Doctor because he got himself picked out from Taha, with the initial frag being on favor for Mercenaries.
This time, MRCZ do indeed get the opening kill, and that's really, really nice. So, now it's time to convert this opening kill into a round win. Already, yet again, we see Skywalker this time on the smoke. Envy's back on the Vamai, exactly as it was in round number 1. That round as well was a converted win for the side of Shaheens. They were down a couple of their members. Man advantage wasn't with them, but thanks to time and map control, it still converted into a win. And once more, yeah, they're looking for that area restriction as well, right? Skywalker, he will be under heavy fire very, very shortly. Frag grenades as well tossed near him, but he still lives on. Yet another frag grenade thrown. Now, Mercenaries only have a single on towards Hasib, who pushes that smoke canister again. They're looking for the kills, but they're getting bottlenecked towards this rectangle area. Skywalker is looking to pick apart this defense, and he's all alone. He's still going for kills. Shinra went completely ballistic. That did not go his way. Now MRCZ, they're still in it. But Skywalker is still alive, and he gets another kill. Same angle, same result. Diffuser now dropped.
Oh, Jesus. This is not how it was supposed to go with the execute. Shinra just waltzed in all towards the red stairs, which in fact wasn't a good idea. And Skywalker, he might be able to get one. Nope. Gets taken out from my7. And now it's a 1v2 where Envy needs to deal with the situation. Might be able to find one, but the hologram might be able to give away his positionings as of now. But that wall bang, though, headshot to take out Taha, might be able to give a chance. 1v1. Mi7 is going in for the round, which means it will be post round. Envy knows that sprints towards, uses the AUG, but can he get the proper shot? No, it does not. Makes some line of sight to see whether if he can get a shot or not. But this is very crucial for Envy. Winning this would give Shaheens an extra win. And Mi7, all it requires is just a single shot to the leg. And that would be more than enough to confirm the kill for Envy. And you could see how patient Mi7 is playing right around now. Flashbangs being thrown around. This is very risky. Can Envy get this kill? He does! Triple kill. Diffuser will be diffused. And Shaheens ends up on a 4-0. My goodness, Shaheens, what a way to show their defensive maneuvers in this past 4 rounds, winning 4-0 back-to-back.
For MRCZ now, the next 2 rounds have got to be it. I mean, they need to win it. Otherwise, don't tell me, Baba, we are going to see yet another 7-1, 7-0 kind of spectacle in the lower finals. That should not be happening. Really shouldn't be happening. But right now, yeah, MRCZ, all pressure on them. Shaheens are not changing anything. Well, okay, one change right here is that we see no castle brought out for this trophy room setup. As a matter of fact, yeah. So they're going for a semi-different kind of plan. I mean, the Azami Kiva barriers, they can kind of do the same job that a castle barricade can, just a little bit more improvised and not that rigid per se, and of course not that strong as well. But yeah, gotta keep in mind that a couple of changes being incorporated by these defenders, still nothing really out of the ordinary. MRCZ need a win, and this has ascended just, you know, um like strategy at this point. MRCZ know what the strategy is. Shaheens know what the strategy is. Every single round, it's exactly, same setup, same execution. Same setup, same execution. There are no changes taking place yet. We see Shaheens with a 4-0 lead. Why is that? It's because of kills, it's because of positioning. And I know I've said this, I believe, like hundreds of times right now, but there's a reason why I'm constantly repeating the same thing. It's because there's only one secret to success Shaheens have right now. It's just outfrag your opposition, but no. Hasib says no to that and gets a very, very early first kill indeed onto Invi.
Yeah, and that all the way. I believe that kill actually happened from the inverted repel. Tower gets one more. That removing Mighty Ali. This time, Mercenaries, they have changed their attack push by spawning towards ruins and slowly making their way all the way towards study, and then make their presence known in towards 90s angle too. So they're just taking things nice and easy. They know that there is a lot of protections being made from both of the deployable shields, which means that pushing from second floor master bedroom and on towards the bathroom side will be heavily guarded. So Mercenaries will make do and see whether if they can find an opportunity by pushing all the way towards second floor trophy. I believe that they will go in for a plant in second floor trophy itself. You even have the Osa's bulletproof shield that can give you good amount of coverage. The main problem is once they've got control of that, they also need to make a push, right? And for that, they
Right.
need ample amount of information from the attack drones, in which it will be very difficult knowing that you'll be met with the smoke gas canisters, which will be constantly being used for a total of 20 seconds. And for the time, Mercenaries, they have at least a minute and 10 seconds, but they have got to make do with some certain information and ensure that whatever execution that they're trying to make, it needs to be in absolute perfection. Doctor, on the other hand, gets to take away Hasib and runs away safely with the 4v3 still being in favor for MRCZ.
Yeah, yet again, MRCZ once more. Man advantage for their side. But look at these angles. Shaheens and their players are holding Doctor. Had he done that headshot, he could have been very, very lethal. But now it's MI7 returning the favor, getting his revenge. Caesar actually going for a run out. It being successful. The diffuser's going down. They should know where the Jaeger is. And Skywalker as well with the smoke canisters. Oh, well, as the smoke himself would try to do something. No, Skywalker's gone. Caesar, however, lives for the time being. What will his end result be? Going to be the same as his teammates. Well, he's again eyeing out the opposition, trying to get that info exactly where they are, trying to play against it, but time is running out. It takes 7.5 seconds to disable a diffuser. He's got 20 on the clock. So will he try and stick it? No. MRCZ, good execution from their side. They are forcing his hand, and now time has practically run out. He can go for the kills. That's his third. Can he get the quad over the around the Osa shield? He goes. And no, it's MI7 who secures the round for MRCZ. And finally, the first on board. So yeah, indeed, desperate times do call for desperate measures. But for Mercenaries, it also leads to a positive result.
Yep, this victory on attack will at least give some hopes for Mercenaries to proceed with their win on attack. Round number 6 will be the final first half in this map to see whether if they can end it on a 4-2 scoreline. We all know that Shaheens is currently in control on defense, so they will make a change. They will make some change in the side, this time being on first floor kitchen and dining. You'll have Pulse with the cardiac sensors. which can give ample amount of information towards the site. And I believe at the early rounds, I did see both of the players. Maybe I could see Skywalker and Caesar, both of them holding out towards second floor. And then maybe in the mid rounds, they just usually fall back and let the attackers have control on the site. I believe that's exactly what the game plan is. And that game plan really did end up getting 2 kills from the C4. One kill from the C4 was confirmed. The second kill confirmed a down from Taha's end. So for Mercenaries, they have got to be careful with the pulse cardiac sensors that's been given ample amount of information. Even with the C4s not being able to get a kill or not from the defensive side, doesn't mean that they will not stop hunting those players down with their information being constantly relayed from the pulse. So you got to be careful of the roamers. You got to be careful for Skywalker and Doctor, in which Doctor could be able to go in for a roam all by himself, with all the keyword barriers being placed from the necessary placements all the way towards Memorial Room, I'm guessing. Actually, no. We will see Doctor all the way to a second floor statuary room this time. And with it, I believe he's all by himself. No, he still has Caesar from the Astro room. So you have necessary amount of cover. But for Doctor, playing in a very risky position, he really needs to be careful, especially with both of the windows being opened up and the courtroom, which is about to be opened up too. But Envy, on the other hand, he already started off with the with the smoke, that is. SMG-11, he removes Hasib, and now it's 4v5, which is still favoring for Shaheens.
Yes, it is saving for Shaheens, and of course, right here, Invi has taken his revenge. Hasib, the lethal player, is gone, but still, you've got the likes of MI7, who currently has the highest kills in MRCZ right now. But MRCZ overall, they've got other plans. They want to remove these defenders. They want to remove the roamers. They're still having some troubles individually picking them off. The refrags are in. Absolutely they are. And the attackers actually will. Wait, they've dropped down the laundry hatch. They're looking for us to execute into the bomb site. Meanwhile, Taha is up towards astronomy. This is really, really smart. Mercenaries, they can make this work. Caesar also falls. Taha, excellent positioning, excellent situational awareness. And then you've got the Finka. Really nice end to that round. They completely went off script. Shaheens did not anticipate that even in the slightest. And Mercenaries did end up taking the win. So that is really, really good stuff. They've managed to salvage the half to a certain extent by pushing the score 2-4. But there's a little bit more work to do before we can truly call them equal in this map.
I mean, I still have a question. Like, how did both of the players, like Taha, immediately were in basement pantry stairs? Did they just,
They
go all
dropped
the way
down the
outside? Okay, I believe they
second
dropped down
hatch.
from the window. Yes, yes. Did they drop from the hatch or did they just vaulted in from the windows of basement pantry stairs? That's
Either
the
one
question.
of those.
But
I
anyway,
would
it actually did give
assume.
the win for MRCC, right?
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah, especially with the Mercenaries not being able to succeed in 4 defensive rounds back to back, it's very difficult for Mercenaries to come back in a situation like that. So, with round number 7 being in play, we will see Hasib bringing the frost once again. The Pog mats really did favor for Hasib in the previous match up against Hunter's LFO, but it didn't give enough victories on both the maps. So, hopefully, we might be able to see that happen in this map on Villa. Shaheens, on the other hand, they've secured 4 rounds on defense. Will they get to secure 3 rounds on attack? That's the biggest question that we're about to see in the action phase itself.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. And well, right now, I gotta make sure that exactly to again not make any of those early mistakes. A couple of times in these rounds, you've seen those early kills happen for either one of these teams. It can be quite lethal, especially on the first round of the side swap, which will be determining a lot of things, right? It'll be seeing the teams and how they want to execute, what the style is going to be, if there's any change in pace, if there's any change in the nature of attack for Shaheens now that they've moved on over from their defense. How is MRCZ's defense? Is it similar? From the looks of it, MRCZ are yet again maintaining that high line of defense. They are not going to be playing anchored into the bomb side. The roam is present. They're constantly actively peeking those angles, searching for the players. And in hopes of finding that, they indeed do hope Shaheens, go into their crosshairs, land in their crosshairs, and MRCG can get a couple of kills. But Shaheens also have been quite quiet, and makes you wonder that the pressure is now on the attackers of moving forward, and how are they indeed looking to attack? Because still you've got so many roamers present. We can see Taha on the first floor out there. What is Shaheens' plan?
Yeah, at this point, they haven't even removed a single player just yet. And I just realized Taha, he currently is playing as the Pulse. Not quite sure
Yeah.
exactly where he is at the moment. Maybe he's at the first floor, giving some information towards the team. Maybe he's doing exactly that. Utilities being used to destroy the Surya Gate. The Hasib's Frostmat Trap will be destroyed from the Red Stairs. Infamously, very popular as he did get some of the players inside of Hunters, but not this time with up against Shaheens. Peak will happen, Shinra gets to fall, and Skywalker gets away with a win, and the execution will be done nonetheless by breaching up the wall in towards the Walls' side, where they have ample amount of angles, but you forgot about the C4, and this is exactly where Pulse comes into play. A second headshot to remove Envy. As you should have been careful for Pulse's cardiac sensors, and
Ooh.
Hasib, 2 kills, which leads to Ali, left in a 1v4. It's a bit too late to save his teammate, and Hasib will gladly get the triple kill of that too. Mercenaries, played accordingly by the card, will be able to win round number 7. All they have to do was just let Taha get the information towards the first floor. The C4 was put to great use. Even Envy knew exactly where Pulse's location was, but unfortunately it was too late. And because of that, it did ended up favoring for Mercenaries by winning that round. Second floor trophy in such a room will be the site on round number 8. And for Shaheens, this will be a very tough spot for them since knowing that they are on attack. And oh no, it's going to be even more problematic with Skywalker being unfortunately disconnected, but a rehost will be requested from the side of Shaheens, which means that we are, which means we are heading back to the caster scam and talk about the whole match that's been happening around between Mercenaries and Shaheens.
Yeah. Yeah. Overall, in the entire matchup as well, MRCZ definitely on that momentum train right now. They are feeling themselves. They want to make that comeback. They want to equalize the score as soon as possible. They won on Aviator. Trophy was supposed to be next. And as it was a rehost called in the preparation phase exactly, it's going to be the same bomb side and the same operator compositions from either one of those rosters. That cannot change. But yeah, very, very soon we'll be having that full rehost, and we'll be going over all the process. Of course, wouldn't be a South Asian Rainbow Six match without there being rehost. So I can already see Baba adjusting himself. It's time to get comfortable. It's time to be here. We are going to be here for a while. But
Mm-hmm.
overall, definitely we've been on Villa a lot longer than anticipated as well. I mean, when we saw that 4-0 from Shaheens, I almost said that, I did say actually that are we going to see another 7-1 or something along the lines of that? But no, MRCZ have gone for that comeback, and it's good to see Mercenaries actually going for the comeback and not the opposition doing just that, unlike the events of yesterday. So that's really nice. This is going to be the confidence booster for the side of Mercenaries. As for Shaheens, I think they need to try and put a stop to this before it gets a little too late, and they need to make sure that one of their attacks work. But so far, from what we have seen on Villa, it's been pretty defender sided.
Yeah, it really has been. I mean, for the past
Hmm.
2 to 3 matches that we've witnessed between most of the teams in the playoffs, we've always seen the defenders usually getting the upper hand on winning most of the rounds more than the
Right.
attackers. And I believe it mainly has to do with the bans, maybe with some the standard bans that we've seen from time to time. Usually ends up being in favor for the defenders. So I'm pretty sure that it could be at a certain change, maybe with the different bans that we might be able to see, especially if it's like once Thatcher isn't banned on any of the maps, then that means that the highest success rate for the attackers is just decreased on an all-time low. Even with them having the secondary EMP charges, it's still not working out from their favor. Not quite sure exactly what's the main problem. Maybe I think it requires more time for the for the teams to understand how the secondary EMP works. And once it does, having certain operators like the Lion, I mean, you even have Nook, which has both frag grenades as well as the impact EMP too. So all in all, it just works, perfect. It just requires some time, and maybe if you wait for like more than a month or two, maybe we could see the teams, they might be able to unlock a lot of strategies in which we might be able to see the team surprise us a
Yeah.
lot. And I just realized that both me and CCV has the same shirt, especially with the patterns too. Both of us has the same thing.
The
The only difference is that
the
CCV shirt is
contrast.
blue and mine is red.
Yeah, yeah, the
So you know what it
contrast
could be
just
best if no no, no what it could be best is if your face cam was on the left side and mine on the right side, we can actually have a proper cosplay of the orange team versus blue team.
ah. Ah, yes. It took me a while to, actually visualize the orange. And see, this is how I know that I don't pay enough attention when I'm in my rank games. Where's the orange team? Where's the blue team? Whew,
Mm-hmm.
leaves my
Yeah.
mind, and that's about it. Because see, here in the custom matches, of course, we have like the team names, right? We have Mercenaries, we have Shaheens, we have Phalanx, Kira, Hunters. In ranked matches, it's not like that. So in ranked matches, it's I'm the least bothered by it. So
Mm.
there's no point
I mean,
talking
it's
about it
it's
even.
it's a lot of changes, back in those days, it used to
Yeah.
be like your team versus enemy team. Now it's orange team
Hmm.
versus blue team, and now even that has also changed according to the colors, which you can change in the accessibility option. You can actually put it as orange team, red team, blue team. I mean, it's like any color you want for the opposition team. You have variety amount of changes, but all in all, I've
Yeah.
got to say, I just realized when we came back to the casters camp, the only thing that I was looking at was CCB's shirt, because both of our shirt looks exactly the same. Did we just go into the same shop like by accident and we just bought the same shirt?
Right.
Only the colors
Only
had been changed.
opposite opposite sides of India. One North India and South
Yeah,
India. We went to the
yeah.
same
You,
shop
you,
in like
you went
Madhya
to the same
Pradesh,
shop.
and
Yeah, yeah,
yes.
yeah. I
But
mean, we both
all
attended the
right,
LAN. Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
I didn't
we,
buy
we we
anything
did
from
attend
there
the
though.
boat. Yeah, yeah. I mean, we didn't had the same shirts, but nonetheless we did meet together. I mean, it was an amazing time for that too. But yeah, I know I'm
Yes.
getting sidetracked in the end. Let's just focus on between MRCZ and Shaheens. I know we you guys are waiting for that match to happen. And talk about Shaheens, they made a fantastic performance for the past 4 rounds, especially with Envy, who's been making a really great job with him playing as the smoke and also being as the support. So everything is
Even
working
the
hand in
Aruni,
hand.
yeah.
You even had Doctor 2, in which Doctor was just
Hmm.
so on point with those initial kills. You even had good lines of sight being prepped up on round number one itself, where he had Skywalker holding down from the red stairs, wasting a lot of time from the side of Team Mercenaries. So technically, all of that was prepped up in a really good way that Shaheens almost got themselves a huge lead, and they still do in the first half too, 4-2. And the amount of strategies that they had really did put Mercenaries' attack off guard quite often. But initially on round number 5 and 6, they do tend to change slightly a bit when it comes to their aggressive pushes. I mean, on round number 5, instead of pushing all the way from second for must bedroom, they just pushed in towards red stairs and the 90s hallway in a way that Mercedes did had the advantage in the end. And then in round number
Yeah.
6, with the side being on first for dining, instead of them having control on statue and trophy, they just showed a distraction like, hey, I'm right here, come on, come get me. And then suddenly they just go all the way downstairs towards basement pantry and just go in for the plant. So eventually Mercedes did change up a lot of strategies without the use of tactical timeout. So that's actually a bit surprising coming in from Mercedes' end, which it did end up on a 4-2 score line. Maybe it could have been best if they could have changed the strategy maybe after round number 3 or round number 4. But nonetheless, what's progress is progress. It's 2v4. And with Mercedes winning round number 7, too high likely a chances that Mercedes could come back in the second half itself.
MRCZ can, yeah, already, being so close to Shaheens, being so close to equalizing the score. I gotta say, Mercenaries do have the opportunity, but once the equalization goes through, the question also has to be asked about the team winning. Because now that MRCZ, and if they're able to equalize, well, everything is level steady, of course, but the momentum definitely will lie with the Mercenaries players. And as we jump back into the game, we will indeed see Exactly what's on board. So yeah, score currently 4-3. Mercenaries trail by one. The objective is going to be trophy and statuary. Same operator compositions for both of the teams since the rehost was called in the preparation phase. Again, no changes for that. And a pause has been asked from the side of Mercenaries. Okay.
Um, hmm. This time a pause was requested from the side of Mercenaries. So, yeah, apparently the pause did not happen. So, yikes. All in all, round number 8, I hope we will proceed without having any issues. But pause will be, a pause will be in effect in the next round itself. So, all in all, Shaheens, they're currently still in the lead, having 4 rounds. Whereas on the side of Team Mercenaries, they're about to equalize it in round number 8 itself. We do have some change in the operators though, especially with Shinra. Interestingly, bringing in the Mozzie this time. The pest will be very useful when it comes to denying a lot of information from the attackers. And since you have the Lion, I actually, I kid you not, CCB, I actually had a dream where I saw a Mozzie Pest trying to capture the Lion's E1D drone. Like he just aimed at the sky.
Huh?
He just saw he just saw the Lion's drone and he just caught it with the pest, and he starts to use
My
that.
God.
Yeah,
It's
it was kind of like a nightmare. I woke up and I was like, "Huh, you can actually do that?" I literally went in on custom and tried doing that, but yeah, it was just a dream. So
Hey man, at least you're not having nightmares about accountancy, so there's that. And
oh Jesus,
is it just me or is that LMG going on for? Oh, what happened?
oh no,
Um,
that's not good.
there's a lot going on in this round, but
Hmm.
unfortunately for Shaheens, the disconnections have happened. It's going to be a 3 versus 3 still. The 2 kills have gone in their favor. So they can try and actually win this round, since the round unfortunately cannot be called back because it was after the 30 seconds after the first kill, or like next to the first kill, that they happen. MRCZ with a 3-man defense, they've got to hold on forward as Shaheens look to push forward. But yeah, there's just a lot going on.
But on the bright side, they still equalize the man count to a 3v3. So you could say that Shaheens could bring this back by winning round number 8. Caesar finds one of the players, and that should be the Wamai's location being compromised. But still, he will stay alive. And I believe without the use of Mute's jammers, the explosion will happen. But he'll mainly use it to destroy those castle panels. Aggressive peeks from Taha. Won't be able to find one, and Naughty Yashred decides to get a kill this time. Doing Skywalker. Can he guess a second? Yes, it does. It's Naughty Yashred on the prowl with the marksman rifle. Which leads to Caesar left in a 1v3. A difficult 1v3 situation that Shaheens are currently at. And with the diffusers being dropped all the way towards the bathroom side, we all know that Mercenaries will be holding that ground as best as possible. And they know exactly where Caesar's location is. It will be a bit tough. It will be a lot difficult, but it's still possible for Caesar to win this. 1v3, not a lot of utilities to go through. Every single utilities has been expanded, even the explosive drone, even the flashbangs, and let's not forget, Mozzie has already caught one of the drones, which is given ample amount of information. Shinra, on the other hand,
Exactly.
is just using the caught drone, and Caesar, what he can do right now is just destroy the Mozzie drone, wait for more than 20 seconds. Maybe they could use the time and talk about the rest of the matches that they have to face off against, or at least give a lot of time for the players to come back.
Yeah, trying to buy time, having the discussions as well, jumps in the bathroom, and that's that. And no pause now called, so I don't know what plan it is. That is just, there is so. Oh, they've gone for a timeout.
It's all
Um,
right, folks. It's all right. Tension has been cleared. Don't worry about it. Timeout will be
yeah,
requested from
it's,
Shaheen's end.
I'm trying to think of any analogy to go for this, but it's kind of like in chess. Okay, I don't know how many people watching this have played on the board chess, like physical tournaments, but
Hmm.
like it's when you make an illegal move and the opponent already reacts to that without noticing the illegal move, but then you notice it after, so you can't really go back because there's already been a move after it, but it's illegal. So it's a, when that happens as a player, it's usually very confusing, and I'm in the same situation. I'm trying to follow everything that's going on. But this the pause, unpause, timeout, pause, unpause, disconnect, timeout, it has more storylines than Game of Thrones. But thankfully, hopefully, everything should resume. Mighty Ali is already back, just waiting on Envy. Scores are level, and after this, hopefully, we have smooth sailing. Just fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. And I'm still guessing with the Shaheen's timeout coming to an end, would we see a pause from Mercenaries' end? Because we still have to wait for the ready confirmation from Mercenaries' end. So yeah, we got to see what will happen at that particular place. And yeah, is having a lot of issues though from MRCC's end this time. Yeah, I've got to say, 4-4, Mercenaries have secured round number 8 without facing any issues whatsoever. 4-4 will be equalized in first map of Villa. And talking about the first map, we still have the other two maps that we have, Skyscraper and Theme Park. These two maps will
Exactly.
be very important, especially for these two teams, mainly because they're fighting for not only just the prize pool, but also for the points. Getting second place will receive more points than the ones that they've secured on third place. So they're trying to fight for that. And they want to make sure that whatever they have a lot of chance, they'll make sure to get those most points as best as possible to secure the spot on the SA Nationals. So everything is on the line for these two teams. And Hunters, on the other hand, they're just technically just having a blast. They're just having a seat right now, watching the ward as they're trying to see what kind of strategies do they have to go up against Mercenaries' side, or maybe Shaheens if they do succeed up against Mercenaries in the slower bracket deciders. But all in all, we have to wait for now, as both the sides of Team Mercenaries and Shaheens are currently having issues from their connectivity. So we just have to see whether if it's a rehost, and that means with the power of admins, it's been confirmed, folks. It will be a rehost once again, and I know it happens most of the time. But all in all, I've got to say, Mercenaries, on the other hand, this time they've have improved a lot, especially on defense. An attack,
Yeah.
they've really succeeded in adapting most, especially on round number 4. And the same thing can also be said on defense, especially with some changes. Although I'm not quite sure whether if Shindra, bringing in the Mozzie was part of the plan, on round number 7. But all in all, it did end up helping for Mercedes get the win nonetheless. So for Shaheens, unfortunately for them, they had a major disconnect, with led on a 5v3, but they did ended up equalizing it of some sorts. But all in all, it just didn't work out for them.
Yeah, again, I mean, overall, if you consider what has been happening in this match so far for the past 4 rounds, well, it was Shaheens who got a 4-0. MRCZ now currently on a 4-0. Scores are level, but these rounds themselves are also going through a lot of ups and downs. Like you said, like you just highlighted in the most recent round we saw, Shaheens had that disconnection, 3 versus 5. Instantly, they got one kill. Okay, 3 versus 4. They got another, they pushed it to a 3v3, and MRCZ then were looking like they could collapse, like they could crumble. But MRCZ then end up getting a couple of the final kills, and the round was theirs. Similarly, all the executions that we have seen from these guys, it has been very uppish and downish. We are seeing a lot of highs, but at the same time we are seeing a lot of lows as well. And this makes you wonder that on the map of Shaheens, all of this is happening, whether or not something along the lines of this will be repeated on the map of Skyscraper, because there are theories that suggest like something like this will be repeated, and there are also factors which say it won't be. The major thing for the fact that it won't be repeated is that, again, last time we saw Mercenaries up against Shaheens, it was 7-0, and MRCZ ended up taking the win. It was just complete stomp over. Shaheens had no chance of returning from that whatsoever. The Skyscraper has been a particularly strong map of MRCZ's, especially against other teams. Even against Hunters, it's been up and down recently as well. But overall, Mercenaries really like that map. So going there next does mean that Shaheens will be at that disadvantage. And this is the same thing we talked about in the pre-match presentation as well, right? It's going to be the fact that if Shaheens can secure the map of Villa, plain and simple, that'll be it. No matter what happens on Skyscraper, they will go to theme park nonetheless, even if they lose the map of Skyscraper. But for Shaheens, this is looking like a bit dangerous right now. It's still equalized. It's still 4-4. There is plenty of time before we even talk about the match being ended, before we talk about match point, overtime, things along the lines of that. The players definitely are like talking to themselves, making sure there are no tech issues happening, because that also seems to be a concern for all 10 of the players in the lobby right now. But after that, once all that is done, the result of Villa will still be heavily dependent on the outcome of the best of three, in the sense that will we see a map 3 or not?
Although for both the sides, for Team Mercenaries and Shaheens, I believe the first thing that they did went up against was all the way to the upper brackets first matchup, right? Two maps that they
Yeah,
had, one of which was Skyscraper, which it did ended up on a 7-0 scoreline, and then we had Cafe Dostoevsky, where it was 7-2 again, favoring for Team Mercenaries. For now, when you
exactly.
see map Villa, you could see how much it's favoring for the defenders, especially on the way how you
Mm-hmm.
saw Shaheens win 4 rounds on defense. Now we see Mercenaries
Exactly.
do the exact same thing, and I'm not quite sure whether if it's mainly because of the way how the map works, or mainly because the attackers are just going in on a one particular place instead of just roaming around. Just, I wouldn't say roaming around, like coordinating in a way that they could surround them in every single angle. They could have done that on the early rounds, make an angle in a way that you could force some defenders to get the initial fragouts. But no, instead we just see for the usual push is going they just usually go in with the normal breaches, and then when the time is right, once they find an opportunity, they just get a kill, go towards the site, and just go in for the plant. Easier said than done for the attackers. It's one of the most standard ways you can see from both the sides on attack. We don't see any changes except
Right.
from Mercenaries on round number 5 and 6, but most of the time it's still the same. We don't see any variety on attacks from Shaheens, nor from sorry, not Hunters, for Team Mercenaries. But on defense, it's also the same. We still see the reinforcements. We still see one of the walls not being reinforced on statuary room, which means they have good amount of angle all the way towards statue in towards courtroom window. Especially when they do try to vault in from the windows itself, that's exactly where the defenders have the major advantage in that particular spot, and that's the main reason why they make those holes in the first place. But the rest of it is that since on round number 9, Mercenaries will be going on site first for kitchen and dining room. They've secured both the sites on second floor AVG. They've secured on both the second floor trophy and dining room. But the main question is,
Mm-hmm.
would we see Mercenaries use the same tactic had Shaheens done, or when they were on defense? Would they be bringing
Yeah,
Pulse to gain info? Would they be, bringing in only C4 players on just play in towards first floor
they
and just
could.
rely on C4 explosive kills? Or maybe we could see Shaheens bring in Fuse, use cluster charges, and just force all the defenders away from the sites in a way that the attackers can get the advantage. They have all the opportunities. They have all the good strategies. All they've got to do is just find the right one that suits to your perfection, and just ensure that you guys would have maximum amount of success.
Both of those are highly likely options. Shaheen's going for the fuse. It can happen absolutely, but Mercenaries, yeah, replicating kind of what Shaheen's were doing. We already saw MRCZ do a little bit of that. Generally with how trophy and statuary grows, Castle has been seeing more and more of recurrence on that very specific bomb site. Again, I always say this. It used to be a very old meta, but now it's getting back into it, and the castle barricades on the bedroom walls, like the bedroom pillars per se, take place. Shaheen's did that against Phalanx. Right now, MRCZ also did that. They were also bringing the Azami with the Kiba barriers. So they were going for, again, a lot of area denial with those operators, looking to work around it, look to get some kills here and there. Keeping that in mind, they can apply the same tactic for first floor, kitchen and dining. They can go for a similar method of defense. They can even have that sole room or multiple rumors to that extent, kind of like what Shaheens were having. Shaheens even had like a full like bulletproof shield in towards astronomy. They had reinforcements on statuary. They had a player along with barbed wire on astronomy stairs. I think that was Envy as the smoke. They were holding second floor even when the bomb site was first floor kitchen and dining. They did not want to give it up. Definitely not without wasting time. Definitely not without wasting utility of the attackers. And definitely not without a fight. To an extent, they were successful, but they were just completely outed by the strategy mercenaries went for, which was dropped on the hatch, attack and execute from laundry, plant the diffuser there, and then pay that post plant. So keeping that in mind, Shaheens, they can also go for similar tactics, but it is definitely up to mercenaries to do something along the lines of that and still just keep that defender advantage for them, because this round will be very crucial in the sense that whichever team wins it, they will have that advantage over the opposition. It may just be a one round advantage, but in the minds of these players it will mean like 100,000 times of an advantage, like 100,000 times multiplied of an advantage, just because of the fact that they will have the upper hand against the opposition and it will not be a 4-4 tied score.
Yeah, for now, you could say that Mercenaries, they will not be aiming for just, winning rounds one by one, right? They'll just make sure to get more leads as best as possible so that Shaheens wouldn't
Yeah.
have any more choices to force themselves on overtime on Map Villa. For now, if you guys are wondering what exactly is happening from the side of Mercenaries, that one of the players is having some technical difficulties. It's just the usual, connectivity issues. So currently, team on the side of Team Mercenaries, they're just currently working on it, and once it's done, we'll be able to resume back the same matchup on map number one, which is in fact a scoreline of 4-4. Mercenaries have just equalized it in round number 8 by winning 2 rounds of defense, 2 rounds on attack, which means Shaheens, they haven't secured a win after round number 5. The rest of the 4 rounds and the first 4 rounds we've seen from Shaheens, they have absolutely no problems on defense. The setups were great, the holdings were good, and we made a fantastic recovery on each and every rounds on round number 4. You even had Doctor with the alibi, which is so powerful with the MX4 Storm. But all in all, I've got to say, for Mercenaries coming back like this, it kind of felt like Mercenaries were just trying to, play in the gaps, see how Shaheens are playing in the first half. And then I'm thinking that Mercenaries are trying to play to it accordingly, see what kind of, see which player would go aggressive on most of the time and which player would
Yeah.
like to be in off angle more often. And I believe Mercenaries have figured it out, especially with Skywalker, who was on defense most of the time. You'd usually see him in red stairs playing as the smoke, but the side was on second floor.
Exactly.
You even had Doctor with the alibi, who'd always love to go aggressive. And also, we will be resuming back the game here, folks, as we are not going to waste any
Hmm.
time at all, which means everything has been set up 4-4, round number 9. And again, apologies for the delay, folks, but we are back 4-4, round number 9. Site will be on kitchen and diving.
Yeah, again, for mercenaries, we talked about this. They had kind of being forced in the objective selection primarily because they won the previous two bomb sites, and because, like I said, neither of these two teams, being Hunters LFO, neither of them are going to go for library and living room. So yeah, exactly what we talked about, Baba. Right? They're going for the C4s, they're going for information, and they also have Taha this time as the roamer. Interestingly, Frost has been picked up. I mean, I get it. Hasib definitely wants the bulletproof shield, but why not a smoke? A smoke would have been a lot more useful, especially on this bomb site as well, considering the amount of entry points the attackers have. You've got Art Studio, you've got Laundry Door, you've got Laundry Breach, you've got the main kitchen entrance, and of course the verticality, and smoke can assist with that. Still, Hasib has gone for the Frost, so that's quite interesting. Let's see how that plays out. And yeah, when we are talking about Shaheen's setup on the second floor, MRCZ are not incorporating as much utility on that. MRCZ are spreading a lot more thinner over the entire map. They are getting some utility on the second floor. They're going for some utility on towards the bomb side, of course, but then they're also looking for that living room library extension, and that's what we are seeing. They've got their players situated over there. Their players are looking for kills, and again, everyone in MRCZ is waiting for the attackers to do something or the other. And now it's up to the attackers and Shaheens to go for a significant choice of theirs. Do they counter these roamers, or do they go for a horizontal execute? No matter what they do, Shaheens will be encountering defenders nonetheless very, very soon.
Yep, there definitely will be. Especially with the amount of information that Shinra is relaying right now from the pulse cardiac sensors. They could just play it with the C4s accordingly, and Taha, just he's just making sure that none of the attackers would gain control on Statuarian Trophy as fast as they possibly could. You see the ping's been happening, and what was that C4 from Nordi Ashrit? How did he get a kill away from removing Doctor off all the way from that rappel? That's actually huge. That's a huge kill from Mercenaries. And looks like they want to continue to do more, especially from Skywalkers, and who really needs to be careful. Run out! Oh boy, Taha! A bit more aggressive attempt, but instead it gets caught out from Skywalker instead, which he's still alive with just 20 HP. And now Shaheens, with them finally gaining control on second floor, missed opportunity of a C4 where Shinra couldn't get the kill in a proper manner, mainly because the drone guy is currently right
Ah.
outside. So yeah,
Ooh.
it was a bit mistimed, but two C4s gone. So does two players from Mercenaries as Mighty Ali gets to take out MI7.
Again, these defenders, they're holding the vertical angles, but yet again, the attackers are picking off the players of MRCZ one by one. Still, very close in numbers. Information being relied as a Shinra is still there, but Hasib is now gone. MRCZ yet again troublesome times for them. Seems like the tech issues are never ending, but can they clutch somehow out of this round? They are outnumbered 1-2. Both the defenders now back into the bomb side. They've got no other choice. They can't roam anymore and leave the objective vulnerable. Mighty Ali as the ace. He's got the diffuser in hand. Shinra sees multiple attackers entering. There's the flash out. Ashrit goes down. It's all down to this pulse. He isolates one gunfight. Okay, he's looking for more. Position given away. This time Skywalker gets the final kill, and Shaheens will be getting the fifth round. And again, it's going to be Shaheens this time who have the advantage now. And a pause has indeed been called from the side of MRCZ.
Yep, pause will be requested. And I've got to say, Taha's attempt of making a run out like that from trophy window was not a good idea.
Yeah.
It could have been best to just, sweep the angle instead of going in for an attempted run out. Maybe he could have had the chance of removing Skywalker out, limiting their chances to get into the site much more quickly. But in the end, what's done is done, and Shaheens will get themselves back in the lead, 4-5. They require two more rounds to secure map number one, which is in fact a good thing, mainly because on map number one it is Villa. It's been picked by Team Shaheens, and they know exactly what they're doing in the second half. I've got to say, a job well done from Shaheens on understanding at what time Mercenaries would, put the pedal to the metal. And when I say put the pedal to the metal, it means that them being aggressive on certain positions. Shinra, on the other hand, he kind of missed the opportunity for the C4. It wasn't a good idea though. Maybe he could have just waited it out, see whether he was playing nearby towards the side instead of being on the ends of the floors, which in fact was not a good idea to waste a lot of utilities. But all in all, an attempt was made. They did get the information, but unfortunately for Taha, not being able to play according to that information did ended up not being helpful for Mercenaries at all. So on round number 10, with them not being able to succeed in the first floor site, they'll be going to change the site once again on second floor Aviator and Games Room. And with them bringing in the Bandit, will force Shaheens to bring in some other different operators, and that other operators has to be the OSA. Not only because the OSA has the bulletproof shield, she also has the EMP impacts, which can help them disable those important utilities, where you can have another hard breacher to open those line of sights without facing any problems. But it requires you also need to make sure that the main store has been cleared up and also on the red stairs, or maybe Shaheens can just ignore all the study room place and just go all the way towards second floor statuary room instead. I mean, it's up to their decision. Shaheens, they'd always choose to go in for the longer route, and apparently could have didn't quite worked out well on round number 7, so hopefully we might be able to see that happen on round number 10 itself.
We could see that happening on round number 10. And yeah, there are definitely so many things. I mean, in a way, both the teams need to make sure happen from their side correctly and precisely to make sure they don't give up this round. And of course, there are many things they can change as well in their composition, in their strategy, in their execution of their strategy as well. So, keeping that in mind, for the side of Shaheens, one more round they will get match point, and the amazing thing will be that if they win this round, it's going to be on the bomb side of Aviator in games. Now granted, this bomb side has been very defender sided so far, which makes me think MRCZ will have a little bit of an advantage, and will definitely capitalize off of that as well. So for Shaheens, it's going to be a difficult job. But if it is possible, they'll get match point. Aviator games will be theirs. We already saw Kitchen go their way. There'll be a solid chance they'll finally be able to convert their map choice into a map win. But without any further ado, MRCZ are locked and loaded for round number 10. Usher this time on the Capcom, as MRCZ are really going for all of those trap operators like right now. Look at that. Goyo, Capcom, Frost. You've got Jaeger for the anti-utility. Okay, there's a specific vision these defenders have of their defensive setup.
Yeah, let's not mention about the three C4s that Mercenaries have. They've got to make sure that each C4 should have great value in either on mid or late rounds. They could use those C4s for post-plant denial, or they could use it for a guaranteed kill. But I don't think a guaranteed kill would help them a lot, mainly because all four operators are trap. So actually, all three operators are trap operators. So I'm pretty sure that using C4s for guaranteed intel kills will be a difficult task. But once, I mean, most particularly, it could be used for post plant. That's exactly what I'm trying to guess as of now. Action phase will be present, and so does Taha, who just knows exactly where the attackers are trying to make their entrance, all the way towards the main entrance all the way towards the main entrance on the map itself. Invi, on the other hand, gets to detect Nodi Ashrit. The lone Capcan, who's just trying to push all the way, sees the barricade being opened up, falls away to safety, and ensures he doesn't want to give away his location as of now. And with the attack drones confirming his suspicions, he'll try to force away to fall back, but you forgot about Skywalker, who's just patiently waiting by making an entrance all the way towards Laundry Door, ends up getting a kill, and now Shaheens, removing Nodi Ashrit out, gives them much more chances to succeed. All they've got to do is just focus on the site, but it will be a difficult task because they're heavily met with a lot of traps.
They are indeed going to be met with a lot of traps, and if they can continue to eliminate more and more of these defenders, then obviously the traps will be meaningless. But I was going to say MI7. He went for that fireback, but yeah. However, Skywalker wins that gunfight, and now MRC is still going for the gunfights. Are not going to be favoring them. Shaheens are looking very strong. Shaheens are really just completely countering these defenders, pestering them one by one by one. Taha crawls back to safety. He will be revived by Haseb, and there's another player who goes down as soon as the revive hits. So now, yes, numbers have been equalized, but Shaheen still have a little bit of an advantage. That right there is time working to their benefit. They are next to the bomb site. They are adjacent to Aviator in games. Many of the defenders are low on HP as well. Shaheens can very well take their time and slowly but steadily launch that execution. So the defenders will absolutely try and hold them off. The positions they've got, it's ready for that. However, it's all down to these gunfights. Haseb wins one of them. Mighty Ali is gone. The two attackers right now, they are together in this games room hallway. They are looking to push together as well towards the bomb site where Taha lies very low on HP. With 30 seconds, is it going to be successful? This seems better, but still two more defenders to go.
Shaheen still needs to recover that diffuser though. They're losing a lot of time and they have to play it accordingly to post plant, or else the defenders will have the higher advantage. Well, not for long. It's 1v2, 1v1, and both of them are gone from Shaheen's end. Not quite sure of what exactly happened in the end. Once they did get the initial frag out, the callouts weren't given, and in the end that would give Shaheen's a map point, folks, on round number 11. 6-4 will be the score count, and all it requires for Shaheens is to gain victory on the same site once again. Second floor Aviator and Games Room will be the site once again. We saw a lot of problems, especially from Nodiashit's side. Once he got detected from the attack drone, he thought that he didn't even see the drone, right? Once they did get the information on one of the players holding from piano, Skywalker, on the other hand, he just sprinted all the way towards laundry entrance door, and then he made his way towards the memorial, which he did ended up getting that kill. And that kill was so crucial, mainly because Nodi Ashret was playing below C4 play, and plus ensuring that
Yeah.
none of the roamers would make an attempt to go all the way upstairs from the main stairs, mainly because he had the Capcan being in play. But the main problem of it is that there was no how can I call it, trade game, which eventually worked out from Nodiyash. It kind of felt like he went far away from the team. All four players were currently situated in second floor, except Nodiyashrit. And maybe that small, minute mistake that Nodiyashrit did might have cost him the entire round. Even with the equalizer being done, even with the information not being given at the end, being able to lose a round like that without having any information nor a trade means danger for the defenders. And for Shaheens getting a match point like that, things will be even much more tougher for Mercenaries if they make a mistake once more.
Absolutely. Things are going to get a lot tougher yet again. So right now, Shaheens, they have that advantage indeed, right? Overall 64. Of course, in this round, things are a lot different. Skywalker, the primary entry fragger, the top fragger as well, after the rehost, the guy who's recently been getting a lot of these kills, is now gone. What do Shaheens do without the Ash? They are still looking to push their way forward and try and eliminate some of these defenders. They'll be successful with the first. Okay. Ashrit is gone. They want to clear out Trophy and Statuary entirely now. They've got astronomy control. They're forcing out. Here's this flank and what a headshot on towards Doctor. Beautiful. Right there means that the attackers yet again more and more disdain for their side. This is looking better from MRCZ, but still, we know in the late rounds they can struggle to an extent. The past round was the example of that. A 2 versus 2 into a 0 versus 2. They've got to be careful with how the defense proceeds forward.
Now, does Envy know that there is a Frostmat trap all the way from Red Stairs? But although their main focus has to be from the side itself, so they'll be heavily focused on that. It's a 3v4. Currently, MRCZ is the one who has control when it comes to man count. They even have good amount of denials too from the C4s and also the Vulcan shield, which could be used for denial. All they've got to do is just time it right. Shinra's been taking a lot of damage, but he still survives at a certain point. Caesar will use the concussions to destroy the Arena Surya gate, and now they have got to figure out a way to remove these players in towards the side. So we see Caesar from second floor landing and the rest of the players from the hallways of 90s, on the hallways of 90. Grenades will be thrown around. Goya's Vulcan shield will be popped out, which would force Shaheens to wait for an extra 20 seconds. Which means that at the span of 30 seconds left, they've got to make a play. And Taha, what? He just gets away with a kill. And Caesar, no! No, the Frostmat! Oh no, such a disaster. 3v2. And Madi Ali, he needs to go in for the revive. Hasib gets the confirmation, and it's Madi Ali left in a 1v3. Leaps from below, and Mercenaries gets away with a win. You know, Envy placed a drone, both of his drones, in Red Stairs, and he didn't see the Frostmat trap. No, this is not the way that Shaheens are going to lose this. Hasib, come on, man. Are you kidding me?
Even Taha as well, right before that, as the bandit, a triple kill he got meant huge advantage for the side of Mercenaries. And again, there's that chance they can continue this. There is that opportunity. They push it into overtime where things will only get even more heated. But right now, for the side of Shaheens, I mean, in a way, pressure's there on both the teams a little bit more, just a speck more on Shaheens, I'd say, because of the fact that, again, the discussions we had in the pre-match presentation, this is their map choice. On Skyscraper, especially against MRCZ, they do tend to struggle, which is why if they can secure a map win here, Skyscraper, even if they lose there, they can go to Theme Park. It's going to be perfectly fine. There won't be any major obstacles, or there won't be any, extended pressure on Shaheens right there. But if they lose on Villa, Skyscraper becomes a must win, and that situation gets flipped on its head right there, meaning a lot more of problems for the side of Shaheen. So keeping that in mind, still, yeah, pressure's there. Is there on every single player out there in the server. They've had so many problems to deal with. This match itself has been taken, I mean, it's been quite a while since we started also. So keeping that in mind, exhaustion may be hitting the players just because of the fact that it's only been a single map. You never really know but this is the final sprint. This is the final 1 kilometer of the marathon these guys have been participating. And for MRCZ, trophy strategy doesn't change at all. They're going to be going for the same strat. It's going to be, you go for the Azami Kiba barriers, you go for the castle barricades, you lock out bedroom, try to eliminate any attackers if possible from there, and then once the attackers eventually move in, you try and deny, or you go for even more kills. But yeah, you make the attacker's life as miserable as possible.
For Shaheens, though, getting control on second floor bedroom should be imminent, because if you waste a lot of time, then that means it will give a lot of chances for Mercenaries to succeed in this round. You even see Shinra all the way towards study window to make an attempt to get a kill. The Zami's Kiba barriers is just working to full perfection, but Doctor, he somehow gets away with the kill. A headshot to remove Hasib, which means no more Kiba barriers to provide a good amount of covers, so they have to make do without it. Flashbangs will be thrown away. Diffuser has been dropped all the way to right outside, which means the attackers are trying to play for picks. And once they have those proper picks, you'll be able to see them get the diffuser back. MI7, on the other hand, he's been taking a lot of damage. Sees one of the players, but he couldn't be able to get the kill on that proper timing. A minute left, and Shaheens, they have the situation under control. They even have the advantage in man count, but they're currently stuck in that one particular spot. Breach has been done, and Naughty Ashraf, he gets away with the kill all the way to his astronomy. They equalized it 4-4 and 50 seconds. As Shaheens are wasting so many time, all three
No
players
frag grenades for them.
in towards the. Oh, yeah, they don't even have grenades. They only have claymores, and that is so much problematic because they don't even have Astro control. And Shinra gets away with one. Caesar gets the other by removing Naughty Ashraf out. It's still an equalizer. Shaheens could bring this out, and it can be with the help of Doctor, forcing it on a 1v3 at the hands of Taha. Will you see him get this win? Might be a chance. 1v2. Air jabs being present. Plant will be there, which means a post plant will be imminent. Air jabs will be placed once more, this time in towards the breach on statue. Only 40 seconds left. Will we get to see Taha succeed the impossible? It's not a great job at it, but he doesn't get the kill anyway. Caesar will get the final shot out and secure a win for Team Shaheens, as they will get their map on Villa on a 7-5 scoreline. What a way, what a performance from Doctor, which in fact we'll be able to see that in the match summary itself. We did had a lot of rehosts in the end. So all in all, what a performance being made from both the teams, especially from Taha's end, even from Hasib, and also from Skywalker and Caesar, who've been doing an amazing job. But in the first map,
Exactly.
it will be Team Shaheens who will secure map Villa.
They will actually secure that map win, yeah. But again, it wasn't without, fighting completely life and death for it. I mean, even in that final round, there was that opportunity. Mercenaries could have taken it. But we saw the attack of Shaheens prevail nonetheless. We talked so much about the defensive sided nature of Villa in this very map specifically, that Shaheens finally getting that attack win must have meant a lot. And of course, they have closed out their map win, and they have taken their own map for themselves. And of course, now we can enjoy the best moments of that match. We can have a look at the highlights, and we can see that how it started, how it progressed, and eventually how it came to an end as well.
Yeah, first half, I have to say, Shaheens have done an extraordinary job on defense, providing an extra. It was more of like the more of the sites we've seen from Shaheens have been an extended hold from both second floor as well as on first floor dining, which it did ended up being in their favor a lot. And there's a lot of questionable decisions, especially from Shinra, like we did saw in the highlights itself, vaulting from the red stairs, even though there was the smoke, still holding out that important angle, using the smoke gas canisters to force Mercenaries to be at bay. They didn't had any other chances to push the hallway, mainly because it was met with two crossfire angles being placed from both Doctor and also from Skywalker. But the rest of it was just adaptations that had been made from Mercenaries's end, all the way from round number 5. They had won 4 rounds, 2 rounds on defense, 2 rounds on attack, and then suddenly we see Shaheens bring back fourth by winning their 2 attack rounds. Unfortunately, on round number 11, some repercussions did happen, especially from the Frostmat traps. But in the end, the most important part about it is that Shaheens had recovered from this blunder and ended up being in their favor 7-5. And to top things out, Doctor, not only did he get the initial frag outs, getting triple kill was very huge coming in from the side of Team Shaheens. They will secure map 1, and they are 1 map away of securing the grand final spot up against Team Hunters LFO. As we take a look at the match summary itself, Taha on the top of the leaderboards, 11 kills, including with Hasib, 58% cost on both of them. 2 initial kills from Taha, 1 initial kill from Hasib, and also on the side of Team Shaheens, we have Caesar with 13 kills and Envy with 11.
So yeah, when it comes to kills again, I mean, seeing just how close the match was makes sense why, the kills overall, especially towards the top of the table, are practically the same. Of course, Caesar having a better day, getting that 13 kills, 75% cost as well, in the EPS of 1.13, definitely breaking into the 1.1s right now, meant that he was having a tremendous day. And that extra effort may just have been what affected the side of Shaheens into getting the final 2 rounds or the extra 2 rounds over the side of Mercenaries. But regardless, if it was individual effort or a team synchronized effort, a win is a win nonetheless, and Shaheens will definitely be very happy with how Villa went. MRCZ, on the other hand, they also know to an extent that Skyscraper more or less is going to be theirs, and because of the fact that how it's gone in the past. So I believe that MRCZ may just be looking forward to the map of Theme Park as the decider, but still, we can't call anything just yet. Villa was supposed to be, again, a very, very standard win for the side of Shaheens, but it wasn't. It went 12 rounds, maximum rounds of regulation, and MRCZ almost pushed it to overtime. So keeping that in mind, Skyscraper as well can tend to go in crazy ways.
Yeah, it can go. Although Shaheens did win on their own map pick Villa on a 7-5, it's been an amazing ride. But their job's not done yet. They still have one more map to go, and that map is in favor for Mercenaries because it's Skyscraper. It's a map picked by Mercenaries. But for that to happen, we just have to go for a short little break, and we'll be right back after this.
Welcome back, everyone. You are watching the fall edition of the Esports Club Rainbow-Six-Siege Pro Series, supported by Ubisoft, powered by Zotac Gaming, and of course, with our broadcast partner Loco. I'm CCV, joined alongside Babagusta, and we are bringing to you the lower finals. Now, out of all the teams that had registered for the fall edition of the Pro Series, we now only have 3 teams remaining. Out of those 3, one have already secured a spot in the grand finals that will be played tomorrow. That is Hunters LFO. Today, we are seeing who exactly will be their opponent. So we've got Shaheens up against Mercenaries. In this best of 3, it's not the start. We are resuming midway, shall I say, because Villa is done. It was chosen by Shaheens. They end up winning 7-5. But now, Baba, we go onto the map of MRCZ. We go to their choice. It's Skyscraper.
Yep, Skyscraper. Last time I remember, Mercenaries had no problems dealing with Shaheen's defense nor on attack, ending things off on a 7-0, a flawless win in the upper brackets matchup. The only difference is that Shaheens, they have shown their presence on map Villa by defeating Team Mercenaries on their first map 7-5, with 7 being in the hands of Shaheens. So now on the second map itself, Skyscraper, which is a map being picked by Team Mercenaries, you could say that Mercenaries are very confident in this map. The only difference is, does Shaheens have focused on this map as well? We've seen how, difficult Shaheens were performing both on attack as well as on defense, and Mercenaries had no problems dealing with these certain situations. And at least on the bright side, you could say that Shaheens are currently on defense, and Mercenaries, on the other hand, they're currently the ones on attack. So it's a bit it's a bit difficult, but if Shaheens have figured out their mistakes, if they're looking very strong on map Skyscraper, then that means they wouldn't have any problems, proceeding in towards the grand finals, because they have did secure map number 1 on Villa. All they've got to do is just
Yeah.
win map number 2 Skyscraper and get the spot in the grand finals, going up against Team Hunters LFO. But for now, we will have to see whether if Shaheens can doing. Starting off with the ban phase itself, Shaheens will go out with the bans itself, and I believe it will be a standard ban, Thatcher ban, Nook ban, but no, it will be the Osa ban. A Skyscraper, on the other hand, I don't think a Thatcher will be banned a lot, especially on Skyscraper, mainly because you need to deal with a lot of runouts, maybe some unexpected peaks from the defenders. So maybe having, Thatcher, even with the Thatcher being in play, you still got to worry about the sides, right? So that's the main reason
Right.
why Thatcher has been banned. Second ban will be Jackal nonetheless, and now we just got to wait to see what kind of defensive bans do we get to see from both the teams.
Yeah, so definitely on Skyscraper, these teams, having their own ways with the ban. Generally, yet again, yeah, Jackal Osa getting off the board makes sense. And well, so does Valkyrie. It's like Villa all over again, with the exception of that Osa ban. So, yeah, these guys and these teams, they're in tune to the meta, they're not changing anything. And like I'd said for the map of Villa, it's not really the operator ban phase where we will be seeing any major disparities taking place, or will we be seeing any major X factor happen. You could classify Mute as an unlikely subordinate of that. You could say, well, Mute really doesn't belong there, but okay, yeah, fair enough. All right, it may have gotten the opposing team off guard a little bit, but I think working around the Mute as well, if you just want to go for anti-breachers, Bandit will be there. They will be bringing the Cade on certain bomb sites. Right now, Shaheens are going to be going for none of them, as they just plan on going for area control and denying that. Frost is there, Azami chosen. You've got Mighty Oli on the Melusi as well, and not to mention, Smoke being there means that Mercenaries, just like what we saw in Villa, these teams, they're sticking to their core principles. They want to keep each other, as distant as possible for as long as possible, without risking their own lives, without going to gunfights, do that. And if they can safely, keep the attackers at bay just using their utility, it'll be a lot helpful. But the attackers as well, they want their own ways around it. We can see Thatcher has been brought out. Ion this time, who is subbing out, or well, subbing in, shall I say, for Ashret, who is, usually the coach, the substitute, everything for MRCZ. He wears a lot of hats as well. Is now gone. Ion is back. So MRCZ this time should be looking a lot more confident as well, with their core roster being there.
Yeah, with the core roster being present for MRCZ, the only difference is will they succeed map Skyscraper. They're well known. I mean, on attack itself, we've seen Mercenaries do a lot of wonders in the site. And for Shaheens, it kind of feels like they're visiting the past, and it's not a good pass at that too. 7-0 is not a good way for Shaheens to be losing it, but maybe they'll be able to get their revenge match back, or maybe they'll could retaliate back, hoping that they would have a lot of chance on Skyscraper. I mean, look at the setups that we are seeing from Shaheens' end. A lot of Kiba barriers, deployable shields, a lot of protections from the defensive side, which should force the attackers to use a lot of explosive utilities. The shock drone will be used to gain some vital information on players' whereabouts, and now they just gotta have to play it accordingly. Breaches will be done all the way towards the site, and now they just gotta ensure that they have control on the site and ensure that the runouts wouldn't be present. But no, oh boy. Oh man, what a way to start things around, especially with the frost mat traps. But the gunfight still needs to happen as Ayan gets the first frag. Taha
Oh,
will
they're
already go
sticking
in for the
Diffuser.
plan too. They're still sticking for it. It's 4v4. Envy will confirm the kill out. And now it's a 3v3.
Yeah.
They still have the control, but the defenders, they already have control on the side, but don't have control on that particular defuse, in which they only have 35 seconds left.
Yeah, the defenders, they gotta be focusing and they have to be pushing in right now. The attackers holding these multiple angles means difficulty for Shaheens, but they've got the numbers advantage. Hasib is still in that down position. Taha has got to be the surviving factor because he's on the rappel. He's got a lot of HP. Ayan, who was the entry fragger, he was able to get a couple of kills. He's now the one alive as the run out was there. Caesar is sticking it. Ayan's got no choice but to swing, but Caesar already disables the diffuser before that happens. And Mercenaries failing to clear out the bomb site completely, failing to completely cut off the defenders from where the plant was going down, meant that Shaheens just swung back as rapidly as the execute happened, and they proceeded to win the round.
Man, what a run out though. I mean, like you saw three run outs, right? All the way from
Yeah.
the first floor and also of on towards the nearby site, where when you have a really good coordinated run out like that, it is very difficult to handle both of those places. And my goodness, where Team Shaheens were heavily focused on that rappel. And my goodness, did they succeed this defusal of post plant from Mercenaries. And I've got to admit, Hasib getting caught on that frostmat trap wasn't a good way to start things off for Mercenaries. And with a lot of players being removed out, and I believe one of the player, was it Taha or Hasib, not quite sure who it was, but he was sprinting all the way towards the window side, hoping he would find a safe spot, but Caesar was already there. He not only got to remove one of the players out, but it did force Mercenaries to Mercenaries in post plant. They were just currently running away to find a free spot. Red pings will be done, and that red ping will give Doctor the first frag. Shinra is gone. And at the earliest round, Shaheens, I have never seen them get this huge advantage on map Skyscraper, and that too up against Mercenaries here, CCB.
Exactly. I mean, Shaheens, they're going all out with, this display of just complete unadulterated like aggression. They want to go for kills, but again, it's not, like without any with irresponsibility or anything along the lines of that. No, they're still keeping in tune with their, being responsible, not overpeaking any of the angles, not making any of the mistakes, which is why Shinra has been outed. So Shaheens right now, this defense is looking good. They're only peaking when they're supposed to. MRCZ, their attackers slowly, one by one, they can get picked off, which is why they've got to stick together. And MRCZ do realize this. Look at them. They're huddled up as that group. Only that way they're moving forward, but still. Doctor finds a headshot onto Hasib, who was, Hasib was with the rest of his team. Doctor just behind the shield wins that gunfight. So that's really, really good. The defense is holding very much strong. And I am speechless at how quickly Shaheens are just able to completely turn the round in their favor. What? Even that?
What is even that? It's just MI7 left in a 1v5. And he also gets away with the hands of Doctor. 4 kills. with the hands of Doctor. What is happening on both the rounds? Mercenaries, they just fell apart on attack. 2 rounds. This is quite the unexpected turn of events that just happened here, folks. Shaheens, 2 round on defense. And my god, I don't know what are the changes that we might be able to expect here in the first half here, CCV. First, round number one, we saw a heavy post plant denial from Shaheens, where they did succeed in winning the round. And then this, 4 kills all the way towards drum room. Doctor was in drum room and he got all 4 kills in the same exact spot. And Mercenaries had no idea onto how to destroy that deployable shield. I know, I mean, I even saw like 2 ADSs which was placed at the entry doorway of Dragon Room. So they even had the EMPs. Maybe they could have used it to, disable those particular plays, use the explosives, but no, nonetheless, it's just, man, not a great start from Mercenaries. Not a great start at all. Losing 2 rounds like that is going to put Shaheens in a very good spot, especially on defense. And on round number 3, the sites will be changed, and this time it's not going to be on first row barbecue and kitchen. It will be on bathroom and bedroom, the site where it will be a bit difficult for Shaheens. But I'm quite intrigued and curious to see what kind of strategies does Shaheens have up against Mercenaries.
I mean, at this point, I think the most intrigued to see these strategies are Mercenaries themselves. They want to see what they're up against. They've already had a taste of this brutal defense of Shaheens, the previous round being flawless. It was more about just kill after kill after kill, less about strategy in general. But Asab now, he knows for a fact there's a defender in the hallway. Doctor, man of the hour, the MVP of the previous round, does he intend on peeking? Not for now. Not for now. Temporarily, he backs off. And he's looking for something similar. He finds Hasib, and he does again land the opener. And yet again, it's Hasib 0 for 3. Wait, except for Ayan, everyone in MRCZ doesn't have kills right now. This is not looking like the best of looks. They need to get back into it. But this round, the difficulty has been turned up a notch, considering Shaheens once more have the initial kill.
Yeah, Shinra's been gone out. And Mighty Ali, does he know the player on Iana's whereabouts? Almost getting the shot of the kill, but in the end, it will be the Iana who will win the gunfight. And Envy just sprinting around, trying to save his teammate. But in the end, it will be confirmed. Proximity Mine is giving away Iana's location, and Envy knows exactly what he's trying to do. He's just going to play this patiently and see whether if he could find a way for Mercenaries to take the bait. But instead, they'll be focusing on the side as of now. Caesar, on the other hand, providing some support, and Envy will get that win. 2v3 as Mercenaries, they start to lose control once again in the man count. Once again, they're having a lot of difficulties in second floor side itself. Taha needs to be careful on the main stairs. That's exactly where the frost is. Now, smoke gas canisters will be prepped away, making sure none of the attackers from Mercenaries can ever set foot on the site. But for Mercenaries, they have to get this win bad, and Envy tries to attempt for a pre-fire, won't be able to get the kill. And now Mercenaries, although they're losing a lot of time, they still have the control on the side this time with Taha removing Skywalker out, and Envy, huge angle, huge kill. Diffuse been dropped, and now it's MI7 who needs to make amends. 1v2, Envy still in stairs, uncontested. The challenges have been completed and still at the hands of Envy. And it's even more problematic for Mercenaries as his location has been continuously compromised. And Caesar's UMP does the job with a headshot. Shaheens, my goodness, what a way to start things off on Skyscraper. 3 defensive round wins. And in round number 4, Mercenaries, they still haven't found an answer yet to these 3 sites.
Mercenaries are still definitely, thinking about the loss that they had yesterday. And when I say thinking about it, I don't mean actively thinking about it. I think passively, there's some part of them that's still, focusing on what has happened so far. And for the side of MRCZ, it's not leading to the best of results. I mean, yeah, ever since yesterday, ever since Hunters made those 2 comebacks, Mercenaries, they went on Villa against Shaheens. Yes, there were that 4 consecutive rounds where Mercenaries were looking really good, but then Once more, it got overturned, and Shaheens ended up taking the win. Now on Skyscraper, the choice of MRCZ, yeah, maybe the side swap can lead to a change in momentum, just like it did on Villa, just like it happens on many maps. There is absolutely that possibility. I'm not going to call it already, but MRCZ are not looking the strongest. And I would say for MRCZ the same thing I said on Villa is that at least go for that 2-4 half to try and salvage that. As Doctor is playing T Hunt right now, the T is Drone Hunt. Oh, well, Drone Hunt. Anyways, except for that, Shaheen's in the meanwhile goes to show they are changing nothing. You know, we were just seeing Doctor's perspective. Earlier, he was hunting down drones. Now, he'll be hunting down people very, very soon. And he's very much in unknown territory right now, in isolated territory inside of the building. So, Shaheens are not changing anything. They still want all of their defenders engaging in gunfights no matter what the time, no matter what the place, unless it is very dangerous for them, in which case they should obviously prioritize their safety. MRCZ need to deal with this aggression, and with there being not enough drones, with majority of the drones being with a couple of the drones being destroyed, information for MRCZ will be a little bit more on the offside.
But for now, you just see Shaheens, especially Skywalker, sprinting towards the drum room. He gets away with the kill, and that too, it's the Finker. Very important operator, a 360 spin as he uses these smoke gas canisters, block off lines of sight, and Doctor comes back yet again with a kill. 2 kills from Shaheens' end, and the hunt still continues for Shaheens. Only 3 players left as the drum room control still at the hands. Beautiful shot from Shindra. He gets to take 1 kill, but he needs to focus on the rest of the 2 kills too. Skywalker is still present, attempts to throw the smoke gas canisters, but he himself gets caught out. He will be downed, and Mighty Ellie will be forced to go in for the revival. He needs to make sure those aggressive plays wouldn't be made once again, and that smoke gas canisters will be used very efficiently in the late rounds. Explosive rounds will be used, as Invi gets one more. Doctor gets one more as well by removing Shinra off. Which leads to Taha. 1v3 once again, Shaheens. My goodness, what a performance that we're seeing right now on map Skyscraper. He's just left all by himself. He doesn't have any other options but to fight this head on. And the Azami schema barriers, which can block almost half of the place. It currently has the advantage for the defenders. Now which has been broken from the melee. Taha needs to figure out a way to get these kills. It will be a bit difficult. Sees the head, but Taha gets it first. 1v2. Both of them are so low on HP. Taha could get this win. All it requires is to make sure that he doesn't get crossfired or get traded out. But he's also losing a lot of time. He needs to make a play. And in mere 25 seconds, the information's been given out, but it's still a chance for Taha to get it. Headshot to remove Doctor. The Banshee Titan giving away his information will be destroyed. And Skywalker, he knows exactly his location is, but does he now? Changes being made, and Skywalker needs to be very careful about his shots. And Taha gets away with the clutch. Beautifully done. Taha succeeds. And this victory on round number 4 will help Mercenaries put themselves back on track. And my goodness, what a clutch that we witness here from Taha's end. And a timeout will be requested from Mercenaries.
Yeah, MRCZ had requested this timeout actually when it was the 1 versus 3 before Taha had gone for that clutch. So I think, just like all of us, even MRCZ were not expecting that to happen. My oh my, Taha really going after that kill after kill. But also, as I always say, a lesson for Shaheens and a lesson for everyone watching. Do not isolate gunfights in a X versus 1 scenario. Please do not isolate those gunfights. So, yeah, that's exactly what happened right there. You had the Melusi die, another defender died, you then had Skywalker all alone, and Taha won that duel as well. Of course, the defenders were low on HP. That also was a prevailing factor and a very important factor in that. But man, Shaheens could have taken that home. MRCZ, however, they wouldn't care how they won that round. All that matters to them is a round win. And if we remember what happened on Villa, as soon as MRCZ won 1 round, they won 3 more consecutively. They actually ended up equalizing the score 4-4 back then. And even right now on their attack, there is a solid chance something along the lines of that can happen, that Mercenaries can go for the 3-3 kind of play. The timeout, I mean, both of the teams, they're going to be utilizing it to the maximum ability. But for Mercenaries, there is that option to just keep on hammering at this point of Shaheen's, and to make sure they don't give up this slight sliver of hope and sliver of opportunity that they have now.
Yeah, there will be a lot of thinking from Mercenaries' end, especially with this timeout. And Taha making that miraculous clutch will give a lot of hopes for Mercenaries to succeed with their future rounds on round number 5 and 6. But for Shaheens, they have got the moment. They've already got the momentum in the first half itself, with an amazing performance being relayed from Doctor and Envy. As we also take a look at the instant replay to 1v3 clutch from Taha, where all three of the players were so low on HP. All Taha had to do was just find the perfect opening, and he did ended up getting all three of them. For a moment there, I thought there was some trades happening from their end, but instead, it could not. And now we will proceed to round number 5, with Team Mercenaries succeeding round number 4. 1-3 is the scoreline, with Shaheen still having the momentum. And now we see some interesting changes being made from the attacker side, with Glass being brought out from MI7. Okay. Never mind. It just got repicked from the Yana. I got so excited in the initial round when I saw a Glass, and then I realized, Baba, you have attackers repicked. So yeah, it will be shipped from the Yana nonetheless.
Exactly. So, yeah, there was that sliver of hope, but Glass right now, his pick rate is definitely going to be logged to the map of Plane. But even on Plane, actually, people just play Kali. I mean, from what I remember in, all those
Mm-hmm.
quick matches. Again, quick matches. But regardless of that, coming back to the game at hand, for Skyscraper right now, is going to be, Shaheen's. I mean, credit where it's due. Shaheen's in the previous round, the early round was again really good. They, made sure it was a 3 versus 1. Only after that did Taha get an insane clutch. So there may not be enough reason for Shaheen's to change their strategies per se, or to try anything different. If what has been working previously is still working, at least in the early round it is, if they can still find those skills, make sure do not change that. Make sure to not to experiment. So at least with one more round, if Shaheens can get that, they'll be able to confirm an advantage, at the very least a 4-2 half, just like Villa. Of course, they'd like to extend it even more. MRCZ would like the entire opposite of that, with them wanting to equalize this half 3-3. But yeah, this is what we're talking about, right? No matter what the no matter what happens after the side swap, there's still so much importance given to this first half, because these teams currently are level. This is going back and forth because of the kills and because of how specific rounds are going. No major trend that we are seeing, with the exception of Shaheen's, obviously. Yeah, looking for those early kills, just like what we saw from Skywalker right here. So, with that exception, I gotta say, there's still that chance of the team that gets the opening kill to, convert it even further into a round win. But executing that is a lot more easier said than done. And now for Mercenaries, time is running out. Less than half of the action phase is on the clock, and it's still a 5 versus 5.
Yeah. No body's been dropped as of just yet. Another explosive drone will succeed in doing that deployable shield, which means Caesar will not have any particular cover as of now. Almost an attempt of a shot. Could have been a confirmation on the kill, but I think it would be best for Caesar to fall back. Madi Ali, on the other hand, try to help his teammate getting one of these kills. But in the end, it will be Shaheens who get the upper hand. Mighty Ali, aggressive peek all towards that particular place. He has to take out Hasib, but you got to forget. But you almost forgot about Taha. He's already made his breach. And that angle will be so problematic, but Mighty Ali still shows his power. Triple kill as he removes Shendra. An aggressive peek once again, and Envy destroys Taha. And Shaheens will show their power on round number 5, securing the side second floor exhibition room slash office with a ridiculous lead here, folks. 4-1. What a dominating performance that we are seeing here from Shaheen's end.
You know, as soon as you just mentioned, Baba, that the exhibition room was the bomb site, I realized, man, we haven't even talked about the bomb sites. Maybe there's a
Oh,
reason
yeah.
for that. And it's primarily because, with the exception of the first round where MRCZ went for that direct execute and actually planted the diffuser, which obviously then led to Shaheen's disabling it, we haven't seen a lot of the anchors. We haven't seen the bomb side. We haven't seen and execute from mercenaries, because all of the rounds have ended before that. I mean, almost all of the rounds have ended, prior to like a full on execute, a retake. Shaheens, just like on Villa and even MRCZ engaging with those firefights, these guys, they have such a high line and such an early line of gunfights that they won't have a care in the world. Many a times, what we see in Rainbow Six, to an extent, even in other FPS shooters, is that even if one team really wants to go for the gunfights, the other can prevent it, especially if they're the attackers. So, if we use this map as an example right now, even if Shaheens want to go for really aggressive plays, MRCZ can try to avoid that, mainly only focus on the anchors in the bomb site, then execute and then push it into post gun, then take the gunfights. But these teams, they're not opting for that. They seriously want to go for an all-out brawl as early as possible, and they are indeed going for that. Problem for MRCZ is Shaheens have been winning that time and time again, so mercenaries need to figure something out.
Yeah, this is round 6, and I've got to admit, Shaheens, they could end this first half on a 5-1. That huge lead will be so good for Shaheens, especially on the second half. On map Skyscraper, where Mercies, for a moment there, I thought they were the ones who had the most control, but the adaptations that they made all the way from the upper brackets matchup to the lower brackets deciders, it shows a different scenario of what Shaheens have been doing on defense, and now they're looking stronger than ever.
Oh,
Cooked nade from Hasib,
wait, did it
almost taking
bounce
out
off
his
of the
own life.
bar?
Yeah, I think it did, but the second grenade won't.
Oof.
Taking off
Yep.
Skywalker all the way towards the karaoke room. But at least on the bright side, Hasib will get the kill amidst him being dealing with his own damage.
Uh, yeah. So it's a kill nonetheless. So there's that. The attackers have gotten the entry kill. MI7 as well, prepping up a frag grenade, tossing it towards the roof. This time, it's going to not be fruitful. And Shaheens are still going to, be holding the angles. But mercenaries, now we are seeing these guys, yeah, focus a lot more on the bomb side. They want to clear out Geisha. Doctor's still there. They know the alibi is present, and Geisha control is always ever so important from these attackers. That going for it is it. I mean, it's compulsory. It's mandatory. You need to get Geisha control if you want to have a proper execute with enough lines of sight. Still, they're going to go for regular kills. Caesar picks off one. Taha Hasib very low. Hasib now 6 feet under. Taha's also down. And before you know it, in an instant, it's all left to this lonesome Iana. MI7 alongside the diffuser pushes in. And it's going to be Mighty Ali, actually, who secures the final kill. From the corner, swings wide. Oh, wait, through the explosion, he got that shot. But regardless, it's going to be a 5-1 half for Shaheens. Major advantage for these guys. And now Shaheens are just 2 rounds away from reaching the grand finals for the first time ever.
Yep, for the first time ever, Shaheens, they have a chance to be in the grand finals, in which they'll secure even more points for the SA Nationals. This is huge for Shaheens. And for Mercenaries, I mean, granted, they have already secured second place, but for Shaheens being able to be on the top of the leaderboards, it can just change the whole aspect of the leaderboard itself. CCV. Imagine what would
Yep.
happen in the SA Nationals, where you have teams like Shaheens, Kira Esports, Mercenaries, Hunters LFO, and we could include the other teams too. Are currently selected in the top 8 teams. So that
Phalanx,
is
yeah.
a lot. Yeah, Team Phalanx too. Yeah, I forgot about Team Phalanx. I mean, Team Phalanx defeating Kira Esports, and also with them still being in the top 8 of the SA Nationals is so much more that we could talk about. This entire storyline for the SA Nationals will be huge, and I seriously can't wait for that to happen. But for Shaheens, they have not completed it just yet. They need to win 2 attack rounds, and in a 1v5, we've seen this situation, countless numbers of situations before, where the defenders usually have the major advantage. But Shaheens did break the curse on map number 1 Villa. Would it be the same on map number 2 Skyscraper?
Let's see. Let's wait and watch. Right now, though, I mean, okay, yeah, this round, I mean, for MRCZ, it can be an early decider of sorts. It may not have been, it may not be the complete end, but it can be, I don't know, an early ending of sorts if MRCZ lose right here, because this is the defense. The defense, the one chance they have of trying to get back into it.
My
Shinra
God.
goes as he was re-peeking the angle, trying to hold off the attackers from pushing towards killing Ayan. Ayan, the down player, is also eliminated. Mercenaries, it's not even been half of the action phase. They're down to 3 of their players. The location of the defenders are known. Hasib holding a very open but also very vulnerable angle because, again, no reinforcements to support him. So it can go wrong, and yeah, as soon as I say that, Skywalker gets the headshot. It's all down to MI7. Really nice double headshot right there. C4 tossed, blasted. Won't be fruitful right now, but the MP7 still works, and only now does NB get the headshot. Shaheens are on match point. Shaheens now on Grand Finals ascension point.
Will this be the biggest upset that we're about to see in Pro Series Fall Editions? Team Shaheens are on match point, ladies and gentlemen. They are here to secure map number 2 and get a spot on the grand finals. And I've got to say, Skywalker, the amount of kills that Skywalker got just from the destruction of the Azami's Kiba barriers. You even saw the Iana just mealing it thrice, and once the kunai barriers was just thrown in a way, and Skywalker getting away with kills like that, and not only just one, he got 3 kills, immediately shutting down the entirety of the site. And Mercenaries, they had no idea on how to deal with that. 4 kills from Skywalker as the triple kill which had happened on attack. 9 kills from both Doctor and Envy. These 2 players from Team Shaheens have done a phenomenal job on both defense as well as on attack. They have secured match point on attack. Shaheens, they are this close to secure grand finals. They are this close to go up against Hunters.
They indeed are, and again, if this happens, ooh, the grand finals, it's definitely going to be very, very interesting. I'd love to hear the opinions of the Hunters players as well, seeing all the changes that have been happening. Definitely, I mean, of course, after the grand finals, we most likely should be having that post-match interview with the players. So we'll hear their thoughts about everything that's happened in the fall edition, because the summer and the spring edition, they've been similar in the way things have happened. We've had outliers like Team Phalanx have been improving time and time again. Retrograde made an amazing name for themselves in the summer edition. But really in the fall, it's where everything has changed, and right now there seems to be no stopping to Shaheens. Skywalker gets the first kill, on towards the second. It's the martyr of the previous round. It's MI7, the guy who tried everything. Still, it wasn't successful. And MI7, he has been giving it his all on Villa, right now on Skyscraper as well. But still, is it enough for Mercenaries to etch another round? Even if they etch another, they have a whole lot more to go consecutively. Shaheens have all the advantage in the world. Shaheens are definitely in the driver's seat right now. MRCZ's got to overturn that.
Yeah, this is currently the most difficult situation Mercenaries have been in. Almost losing to Shaheens. I mean, they're already at a very dangerous spot, 1-6, and if they make a single mistake and it gives Shaheens the opportunity, boy oh boy, will this be a match and a half, especially in the lower brackets deciders. You can see that the Shaheens are just slowly inching way towards the side, and Asib gets away with a kill. Catches Envy off while he was very busy pushing all the way towards the Dragon Stairs. You still have the Amaru though, interestingly enough, from the Doctor's side. And Doctor, he wants to contest this long-range angle. MI7, on the other hand, was the one who did succeeded by getting a headshot by removing Caesar off. But would it be more than enough? Losing a lot of players, and here comes Skywalker once again. Double kill as he secures the kill off from Shinra. And now, they just equalize it back again. But the main advantage for Mercenaries is that time is in their hands. wait for 30 seconds. Hasib is playing very close. Shaheens have no idea where Hasib is, and this play might be able to help Mercenaries to get themselves back up on their feet. Or would it be more than enough? Hasib finds the one, cannot get the second as Mighty Ali gets the equalizer. 2v1, Mighty Ali needs to get this clutch, and this can be happening. 1v1,
HP
his
for
location has been
MI7.
compromised from the default cams. All he has to
seconds.
do is just find the kill. Not a lot of
Needs
time
to
left.
push
2
in.
seconds. Ali needs to get the kill, and he's going to lose it to a prone MI7. So close, and with the default cam still being alive, MI7 will get away with the win. So close for Shaheens to get this round win, and they still have 4 more chances left. Shaheens are this close of ending Mercenaries in the second map. They are this close.
Oh my god, and again, who better than MI7 to do it? This guy, he has been on an absolute tear so far for his team. He has been doing everything possible to help them, you know, get the couple of rounds, or well, the pair of rounds they have gotten so far. Kill after kill after kill. Shaheen still have that advantage, and yeah, like you just mentioned, Baba, 4 more chances for them. They simply have to take their time. Even if they lose this round or the next round, they can take a timeout. They can discuss amongst themselves what they need to do. So one round isn't end of the world for the side of Shaheens. Yet one round just only barely scratches the surface when it comes to the confidence of Mercenaries and the rebuilding of that confidence for the side of Mercenaries, because of the fact that they still have a lot more of a job to do. So, you know, they will absolutely have to motivate themselves thanks to these rounds, thanks to these small victories, thanks to these battle wins that are happening. But in the longer context, in the war that's taking place, MRCZ are still definitely at a deficit. And keeping that in mind, I don't think it's going to be like deterring Shaheens from, you know, trying anything out of the ordinary, or like from not trying anything out of the ordinary. They can do whatever they want as long as they know, you know, it can lead to that round win, and it can lead to just the final round win. Because again, yeah, both of us have said it many times, but for anyone who is just tuning in, Shaheens are a single round away from going into the grand finals of the Pro Series for the very first time. And also for the very first time, we will be having a third team in the grand finals instead of just Hunters MRCZ.
Yeah, but let's not count this out just yet, CCB. Mercenaries,
Yeah, yeah.
they could still bring this back. I mean, they do need to get 4 round wins on defense, which can also be a possibility if Shaheen starts to lose control on certain situations. I mean, look at this. Even on the early round, we even get to see Shaheens still facing a lot of problems. And once again, Taha is just casually going on left and right, and to the Kebi, missing a lot of shots in that situation is going to put Mercenaries on a very good hold. They have good information, shock drones being used to destroy important utilities. Last time I remember, Skywalker was the one who initially get those frags. The only question is, can he be able to do it once again? Information's being given, 2 deployable shields present this time on both the sides. And now Shaheens, they're starting to lose a lot of time. Smoke gas canisters are present, so does the breach. The sprint will happen all the way towards karaoke room, which means that all they have to do is just crouch in towards the side and succeed for post plant. Mighty Ali currently has the diffuser in hand, but it doesn't have the necessary information towards Kaisha or even on T room. So now, knowing that the problem is in and Skywalker's initial frag out will put Mercenaries on a bit of an edge. A second one from Doctor. Mighty Ali, he's got the control on karaoke. He's going in for the plant. This is it. This is what Shaheen's wanted for. All they've got to do is just wait for post plant. 3v4. It's not denied. No, it is. Post plant. 3v3. Ayan gets 2 kills. But would it be more than enough? Mercenaries, they got to get this back. Skywalker patiently waiting. Doesn't have any proper information. Wallbang attempt. Misses the shot. Uses the pistol. And Caesar, he gets away the kill. Ladies and gentlemen, Shaheens are heading to the grand finals. And they're going to go up against Hunters LFO. What an upset did we witness here, folks. First, it was Kira who got eliminated out from Phalanx, and now Shaheens defeating Mercenaries in the lower brackets deciders. 2-0, ladies and gentlemen. 2-0 at the hands of Shaheens. My goodness, this I did not expect. I did not expect this at all. Jesus.
7-2. That is
7-2.
well on MRCZ's own choice. Mercenaries opted for Skyscraper. Yeah, go on.
Revenge is a best dish served cold. That's the perfect example. 7-0 on the first upper brackets matchup. Well, guess what? 7-2 from Shaheens. This is saying something, man.
Yeah, I think that's a saying that Mercenaries, Kira, these teams, their time maybe they may not be at their peaks just for the time being. Like their performances recently haven't been what has been the benchmark, what has been the standard. And I mean, not only that, but we are seeing the resurgence, not the resurgence, sorry, the surgence of newer and newer teams making a name for themselves. Shaheen's definitely not a new team if you consider the players in it, very experienced people, but the team, the roster, quite new in the whole South Asian region, Phalanx as well. So yeah, for MRCZ, I mean, if there's any kind of wake up call, that people talk about in life, that after this kind of an event, I then saw what my objective in life was. For Mercenaries as a roster, this should be their wake up call. Okay, they lost to Hunters yesterday in a pretty bad manner. If I can't sugarcoat it, it really should have been a couple of rounds here and there. It should have at least gone to decider, if not be a win for Mercenaries. Okay, that happened. That's perfectly fine. But now they went into the low brackets and they're out of it. They're not in the grand finals. And of course, still, like you had mentioned, Baba, that well, let's have a look at the map of Skyscraper as well, while we go over the full sense as to what has happened. That yeah, MRCZ are still going to retain their second position and their second seeding in the South Asian Nationals. Nothing changes that. Of course, nothing can change that. It still means that for the side of Shaheens, this newfound confidence is going to be very, very, very important for their future. And for the side of Hunters LFO as well, I mean, yeah, we talk about, MRCZ, we talk about Kira, Hunters, exactly. What what are they feeling of so many changes happening and so many newer outcomes taking place of these matches? I'd love to get their opinion as well.
Yeah, can't wait to wait for opinion on including on Hunters LFO too, since they're watching as well, because this is quite the outcome that we did not expect, especially on both the series where we had two of the matches being the same, Hunters LFO and Mercenaries. But this will be a whole different. This will be different. Shaheens
Mm-hmm.
and Hunters LFO, they're in the finals, and Shaheens have got more points. Man, this is like something else. I have no at this point, you know I would have thought that maybe Mercenaries would get a lot of round wins, maybe on attack or maybe on defense on the second half, but turns out it did not. They did ended
Yeah.
up with Skywalker, who was playing on Twitch, who did get a lot of initial kills, and once they did get that, they just went ham. And guess what? It was at the same side on attack, second floor karaoke and tea room, where on round number 9, you saw their biggest focus was on towards karaoke room. Once the breach was done, all they had to do was just block the line of sight from the smoke, get an entryway towards karaoke, hold angle, proceed with post plant. It was just the whole setup was just perfectly done from Shaheen's, and that was more than enough to secure a win on Skyscraper. Let's take a look at the match summary itself. Taha with 5 kills. The
Oof.
man did an amazing job with the clutch too. 1v3. And then we have on the side of Shaheen's Doctor with 11 kills, 90% cost, and 2 initial frags. And how can I forget about Skywalker with his initial frags on attack too? 4 frags. 4 initial frags, getting 7 kills.
Exactly. After the 7-5 score on Villa was done, we saw the scoreboard and we saw how it was quite equal with a couple of differences in the kills and the KD ratio of the players. But right here, this is a major difference, and of course, the kills were one of, if not the biggest factor about this entire matchup. I had that talking point about how we weren't even seeing the executes completely taking place in the attack of Shaheens. Sorry, in the attack of Mercenaries. My apologies. In the first half, that we weren't even seeing, actual like the diffuser being planted. Of course, it was planted in the first round, but after that, we barely ever saw it. We just saw the defenders so close towards the brink of the map, always engaging in those early gunfights that. Yeah, it makes you wonder that, I mean, kills really were a major differentiating factor, I gotta say. So yeah, huge congratulations to everyone in Shaheens for getting so many of these kills, and for MRCZ right now, man, again, it's going to be a tough time.
Yeah, tough time. I don't know which team will have a tough time. Either if it's with Shaheens or for Hunters LFO, but the grand finals, it will be a best of five. So we'll have five maps on board, which will happen in tomorrow, folks. The final grand finals matchup for Pro Series Fall to determine who will be the champions for this series. And also, we did get to take a look at the results too. 7-2 on Skyscraper, 7-5 on Map Villa. And there you have it. The full brackets already been filled, and we only have one match to go. It's Hunters LFO who's going to go up against Team Shaheens in a best of five grand finals. What would be the prediction? What kind of plays do we get to see? Will we see a 3-0, or would we go to the distance all the way to map number 5? I seriously can't wait for that to happen, CCV. It is just the whole predictions that we've talked about. It was always about Hunters, it was always about Mercenaries. Now we're going to talk more about
Yeah.
Shaheens, right?
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Maybe in my predictions as well, I may have already started my preparations of a
Uh-oh.
Hunters against MRCZ, so I may have to go back and change a couple of things.
Yeah.
So that's that. This happened to me once before, not in Siege, the other game. But, anyways, whatever we talk about it, definitely make sure, you're following the Esports Club and Rainbow Six Esports South Asia on Twitter and all our social media as well, as a matter of fact, to not miss out on any future updates. Of course, tomorrow, 5 p.m. Indian Standard Time, we will be going live with the grand finals, the final upper echelon of, and the final match of Pro Series in the 2022 competitive year as well. Just one match remains. Pro Series after that will be coming to an end. And of course, we'll be resuming with the South Asian Nationals later. And this is why I'm also saying make sure you're following the Esports Club, because of all the updates on the South Asian Nationals, any content that will be put out about the players as well, all the prep that will be happening and all the matches, everything, all the updates will be given. And again, also on R6 Esports SA on Twitter. But for the time being, hopefully you've enjoyed watching this stream as well. Make sure definitely go in the description, get yourself, and click on all the links, and make sure you're enjoying all the games from Ubisoft. Make sure you're enjoying all the products from Zotac. If you have been watching us on Loco, thank you for that, and make sure you're following the Esports Club Select. But till then, I've been the real CCV alongside Baba Gusta. We'll be signing off, and we'll see you tomorrow. Then take care, and bye bye.